Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a good lunch. Mr. Bassett, did you get something to eat, sir? Mr. Holbrook, did you get something? All right, General, you have your next witness in the courtroom. You ready?
Yes.
You ready, Mr. Jones, Mr. Tanner?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lee, ready? Mr. Rogers, very much.
How much younger?
2 years, 2 years apart.
2 years apart. Did he go to Fulton as well?
Yes.
Y'all go to the same schools growing up?
Yes.
Zaevion play football?
Yes.
What position?
Linebacker,
What position did you play?
corner and receiver, and punter.
And punter?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you a starter?
Yeah.
Did you start? What about Zaevion? Did he start?
No, he wasn't really playing as much, but he started to get in at time.
And at age 15, back in 2015, is that how old he was?
Yes.
Was he still on, he's on the football team then?
Yes, he was on the football team.
Did he get to play much?
Yeah.
Now, back in December 2015, you remember when school let out for Christmas break?
Yeah, I remember.
You remember that day? Tell us about it.
The school let out. I mean, I'm gonna tell you about the whole day, or
You go to school that day?
yeah, I remember. It was like, yeah, it was the last day we was taking our exams and stuff, so we got out early.
Okay. What was the plan after school?
I had work, so I was just gonna go to work. And
Where?
Then we was gonna go to the football game after I got off.
Where'd you go to work?
I worked at West Ham Mall at Earl Hospital at the time.
So after you got off work, what did you do?
Well, I went to work and found out that I didn't have work.
Okay.
So I had got a ride for one of my friends, and I went to the football game,
Fulton game, what type of game was it?
basketball.
Do you remember what time you got there?
No,
What about,
it probably was like six something, because that's when the JV starts, I think.
okay. And what about your brother Zaevion?
We got there different times.
Was he there when you got there? Or did he come later?
He came after me.
Okay. Now, when he got there, what did you do?
We just sat together and watched the game.
Anybody else sit with you?
I think Zay Malone was sitting with us.
As Zay Malone, what's his full name?
Xavier Malone.
Xavier Malone.
Yeah.
So did you watch the whole game?
Yeah, I watched the whole game.
Okay.
All the game.
Were there more than one game?
Yeah, it was the JV game, the girls. Yeah, JV game, the girls game, and the boys game.
Watch all the games at least once you got there?
Uh-huh.
What'd you do after the game?
After the game, we got a ride from my mentor, JV, and we went home.
And would that be at 2116 Texas
Yeah,
Avenue?
160.
Maybe a map to your left there. Can you take a look at that and see if you can
I'll say that.
Yes, sir.
maybe circle on there where your house is, if you find it. Make out where your house is on that map. Texas, you say, don't Texas, that.
Yeah, that's my house right here.
If you would circle like that red marker where your house is. Well, I'll tell you, step back there. Now, did Zaevion ride with you from the ball game?
Yeah, and Zay Malone.
So the three of you?
Yes.
Now, what'd you do when you got home?
We checked in with my mama. Came home first, and like we was probably there for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then we left.
And why did you stay only 2 or 3 minutes?
Cause we just checked in. We normally check in
Okay.
with our mom when we come home.
Okay.
We check in first, and then we leave.
Where, did you have a plan to go somewhere else?
Yeah, we hang out with Dewey, Faye, and Kiera. Dewey had called us on the way back from the game.
Now, what's Dewey's last name?
Louis McNair.
Lewis McNair. And what about Faith? What, you know her last name?
Faye Gordon.
Okay. And Kiera?
Kiera Rucker.
Okay. Had you talked to them or talked about meeting up with them during the game, did I understand? Or?
No.
Okay.
He had called me on the way back when I was in the car.
Dewey did?
Yes.
Okay. And suggested you get together?
Yeah.
So that's why you don't stay a couple minutes at your mom's?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew he was waiting on me, so.
Did you know where they were waiting on you?
They were at Faye's aunt's house.
And
Magic.
did you know where that was?
Yes.
How far away is that from where you live?
Like 100 feet, 150, something like that.
Not very far, is it fair?
Not too far.
Okay. Now, in Lonsdale, say you lived there most of your life, is that right?
Yeah, my whole life.
And do you happen to know about gang activity in Lonsdale?
Yes, I do.
What is it that you know about gang activity in Lonsdale?
I know that Crips like Lonsdale, that's all. Really.
That there are Crips in Lonsdale?
Yeah.
Are you a Crip?
No.
Are you in any kind of gang?
No, I'm a football player, I'm an athlete.
Now, how did you get over to Faith's auntie's house?
Walk.
Okay. Who all walked?
Me, Zaevion, and Zaevion.
Okay. You know about how long it took to walk over there?
Like 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
Now, when you got there, who all was there?
Me, Zaevion, Faith, Kira, and me, Zaevion, Faith, Kira, and Zaevion.
Okay. Was Dewey there at the time?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Of that.
So what did y'all do when you got there?
We were just on the porch, chilling, talking, like that and stuff.
Which porch?
The back porch.
And had you been there before,
Yes.
doing the same thing, chilling and
Yeah.
stuff? With those same friends?
Yeah, there'll probably be like a few other friends. Like,
And I meant to ask you, how many different times before this would you have gone with this set of friends to do anything?
but with just those friends or plus more.
Yeah, those primarily, or plus one.
Plenty of something.
Y'all hang out a lot together?
Yes.
So you're on the back porch, is that right? Do you know about how long you had been on the back porch when something started happening?
Probably like 10 minutes.
And what were you doing on the back porch?
We were just talking, hanging out.
You know what you're talking about?
I don't really remember.
That's fine. That's fine. All 6 of you on that back porch?
Yes.
And after you'd been there about 10 minutes, did something happen?
Yes.
Tell this jury what happened.
Well, we was all sitting on the porch, and then out of nowhere we just saw like a whole bunch of people walking at us.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see the people walking at us. Dewey saw the people walking at us, and then he said, "There goes some people. I think we need to run." So I go to looking. As soon as I look, I looked, and then I stepped. I was going to step off the porch. By the time I stepped off the porch, that's when they let off the first shot.
When you heard that, what you described as a shot, did you know what it was?
Yes.
And when you figured that out, what was going through your mind?
Run. Get away.
And did I understand you say you were already kind of starting to get off the porch?
Yeah.
Were you the first one off the porch?
Yes.
So after that first shot, what happened?
After that first shot, I ran off the porch and I fell. Well, I almost fell. And I recovered somehow, and I just started running. And I ran like, okay, it's like in Lonsdale, like the dumpsters, it's like this wall's behind the dumpsters, and I knew if I got behind the wall, I would be protected from the bullets. So as I'm running, I could hear the bullets flying past me and stuff, and I got behind the wall, and I just took off up the hill.
Tell us, you said you could hear the bullets going past you. Can you describe that a little more in detail? What it sounded like, what it felt like?
Like I was just running, they was just, you could hear them like flying past me.
You know,
As I'm running.
I apologize. You know, remember how many times you heard that swooshing sound?
More than like 5, like a whole bunch of times.
And were you hearing gunshots as well?
Yes.
Now, if you don't mind, if you step back down and use that same marker if you want to, kind of you can locate where Faith Zombie's house was, and maybe draw a dotted line, maybe in the direction that she ran off that back porch, if that's that image. It's sufficient for you to do.
Gentlemen, just come where I can see. Thank you.
If we have, just go ahead with, maybe just, or just a line, just kind of show the path that you remember taking, if you can.
The whole path?
Yes.
We used to do these little fence right here. There's an alley. There's an alley. Another fence in the back.
I'm sorry, if you,
Or here. If you speak up, kind of speak into that, and do, I know it's hard to do, to do that where she pick it up.
It was a hill, and I ran up the hill, jumped over a fence, and ran through the alley. And then jumped over another fence and hid behind my yard.
Now, did you finish drawing the total path that you took? Now, at some point, did you leave where you had stopped?
Yeah, I waited like 5 minutes after. No, probably about 10 minutes. And I heard another gunshot. So I waited a little longer. That's why I waited so long.
Now, after the gunshot stopped?
Yeah, I
when you
heard two more.
Two more, and then did you wait to see if they were all stopped before
Yes.
you left that location?
Yes, it did.
If you can, maybe just get the color, if you can kind of show with the line where you went after that. And blue or whatever color you want to use.
Show you what I mean, after.
After the gunshot stopped, yeah. Tell you what, that yellow not even showing up, so I'm gonna skip, make it purple. Dark. Blue, you just repeat that, the blue marker. Now, when you were running, were you aware of what anybody else was doing? Does that make a difference? What about the others, Xavier and
No,
Zaevion?
I didn't. I just ran.
You were by yourself?
Yeah, I was by myself.
Okay.
I was the first one.
And do you remember about how many shots you heard throughout this entire time until the shot stopped?
It was a lot. Like as I'm still running up the hill, running, jumping and all, I'm still hearing shots.
Okay. And I'll take you weren't counting.
No.
They say you ran back around the front of Faith Auntie's house.
Yes, sir.
What'd you do then?
And I knocked on the door, and that's when it took them a minute to come to the door. I guess they thought I was the shooters, so then they finally let me in to the house.
Did you go into the front door?
Yes.
And who greeted you at the front door? You remember?
I honestly don't remember.
That's fine. What happened once you got inside?
They told me that my brother was, when I got inside, I was like, is everybody okay? Everybody good? And they was like, nah. Faith was right there. She was like, no, your brother, be on the porch.
Okay. What'd you do then?
That's when I went out there. Well, I don't remember if the door was open, but I went out there, and that's when I seen my brother out there.
What'd you do when you saw your brother?
I grabbed his hoodie, and like I pulled him, and I looked at his face, and it was just all blood. And I was just like, get up, shaking him, get up. And he wasn't responding, so after that, I flipped, like, I don't know why I took off my shirt. I don't know why, but I took off my shirt and started running. And I ran to my cousin's baby mama's house. And it's like down, it's right down the hill, down Badger. No, not Badger, it's the other street.
Okay.
Whatever street it is.
Yeah, where it is.
I ran down the hill.
Was it still in Lonsdale?
Still in Lonsdale. I ran down the hill, and that's when I told her, like, somebody I can shoot me, I need to tell my mom that my brother dead.
Did you call your mom, or did somebody else call?
Somebody else called my mom.
And then what'd you do after you told somebody to do that?
I ran back up the street, and I seen, I ran back up the street. I don't know, I was looking like running. I think I ran back up to the scene.
Okay.
I don't know. I seen my mom there when I ran back up.
And I was gonna ask you, was your mom there when you got back up there, or did you get there before she did?
She was there.
Was she upset?
Yes, I told her. I was like, Zaevion, you ain't make it.
Now, we'll take you back a little bit. When all this started happening, when the first gunshot went off and so forth, were you able to see anybody from where these gunshots were coming from? Did you get any kind of look at all?
Was I able to see anybody?
From where the gunshots were coming from, were you able to see people in
Yes.
that location? Do you remember about how many people you saw, or if you remember?
Like three or four.
Do you remember anything at all about how they were dressed? Color of clothing or the race of those individuals?
I just knew it was dark. I mean, it was just dark color.
That's
dark. Everything dark.
Is it fair to say you didn't know who these folks were?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Had you had any kind of argument or anything all day long or day before or anything like that with anybody?
No.
Do you have any idea why those folks shot at y'all?
No.
All right, these lawyers are going to have some questions for you then.
All right.
Ms. Lee, cross-examination.
Mr. Dobson, when you said you ran, when you first heard the shots, when you first said you ran away, do you recall where Zaevion was?
You said when I ran away.
When you first heard the shots?
I moved back.
Okay. Did you see any of the other people running away?
No.
Okay.
I was focused on me.
Okay. And when you first heard the shots, were you on the porch or on the steps?
On the porch still, like, it's like the first, not steps on. The first step, about my foot was right there.
Okay. So you're just getting on the porch then?
No, I was standing on the porch.
Okay. And then who else was on the porch?
Back here, Dewey, Zaevion.
Okay, were they all like on the top of the porch, or are they on the steps, or can you,
Everybody was on the porch.
on the top of the porch?
You mean on the,
I mean, where the door is, they're on the same level as the
Yes.
door? Okay, okay. And you recall where Zaevion was standing?
no.
Okay. That's all I have.
Right.
It was pretty late at night, is that correct?
Yes.
After 10? And you said whenever you stepped off the porch, because I think you said that Dewey said that there were some folks out there, right? And when you stepped off the porch, you said 3 or 4 people is what you saw, but were they in the dark? I'm sorry.
You
Three
need
or
to say
4.
something. You need to say
Yes.
yes or no.
Okay. But, so you couldn't identify anybody at that
No.
point? Okay. That's all, Judge.
Dennis?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Morton asked you to ID your home on the map there, and you recognize that, sitting here to your left, right? As being an aerial view of the Lonsdale community in the area in particular in which this shooting took place. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Goins intersects Badgett basically, if you will, diagonally from 2704 in Miss Colbert's house, correct?
Correct.
Badgett goes this way, The Owens goes this way, is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you saw folks, where were they on this map? Can you take one of the markers if you don't mind? Let's use a different color, whatever, because we've got some red on there, sitting green. That's okay, just so we don't confuse. Can you put me an X where you first saw the folks walking up? And that's sort of right in the middle of the OI of Goins. Would you agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you saw these gentlemen walk up, was your attention brought to them by the fact you were looking that direction, or the statement that Mr. McNair, Dewey, made?
Both.
Okay. So,
He said it, I was.
okay. And at that point in time, he said something to the effect of run, Mr. McNair?
I think so.
Okay.
But
And,
no, he was like, I'm about to go.
okay. And you then made your own personal decision to go, right?
Yeah.
And approximately how far were you from the back porch when you heard the first shot?
How far was I from the back porch?
Yes, sir.
From the porch.
Okay. So you were physically on the porch, heard a shot, and then ran?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you indicated by the path that you drew with the Sharpie that you ran and that you jumped over two fences. You indicated one fence used to be there, no longer there, jumped over another fence, and you actually went into the backyard of another residence up the street, right?
Yes.
Hid behind a little shack, right? And while back there, behind this little shack, you heard how many more shots? Okay. So there were actually a couple of sets of volleys of shots, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall when you came back to 2704 in the route that you went, you ran around after the shot stopped and you came to the front of 2704 Badgett, correct?
Yes.
And you knocked on the door,
Yes.
took a minute, and then either the residents or one of the girls answered the door, correct? You have to answer verbally because Miss Muffler's taking it down.
Yes.
Okay. And you then asked if everybody was okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you went to the back porch and you then saw your brother,
Yes.
said you pulled him up, and at that point in time you took your shirt off, correct?
Yes.
What type of shirt were you wearing?
Gray. It was a gray shirt. Gray
Yes, sir.
pullover.
Like when you say pullover, like a hoodie or a sweatshirt or what? Excuse me, sir?
Sweatshirt.
Okay. Did it have a hood on it or just a sweatshirt?
Sweatshirt.
Yes, sir. Do you know what happened to that sweatshirt?
I still got it.
Okay. So did you take it off and then run with the sweatshirt in your hands, or do you know what you did?
I don't know. I don't know what I did with it.
Okay. What did you do after you took the sweatshirt off? Where did you next go?
Right out of the front door.
So you ran back through the residence?
Yes.
Okay. And that's when you said that you went to your cousin's baby mama's house?
Yeah.
Okay. And at some point in time, you then had another conversation with Miss Colbert, correct?
No.
You didn't talk to Miss Colbert anymore?
You talking about,
The face auntie?
did I talk to her after I was running?
Yes, sir?
No,
Okay, did you talk to her when you came back?
I don't remember.
Do you know if you talked to her about a black female in a black BMW?
No, I did see a car out there. It was before I had ran in, before I knocked on the door, there was a car out there. And it was my friends, and I told them to leave, somebody shooting.
That black BMW that you saw, it was your
It
friend's?
wasn't no black BMW.
Object.
I said nothing about a black BMW.
You didn't say anything about a black BMW, Miss Colbert?
Nah.
But there was a car out there that was a friend's?
Yep. I don't remember what car they was driving.
What conversation did you have with the folks that were in the BMW? Excuse me, in the vehicle. I'm sorry, I did it. In the vehicle.
I told them to leave, somebody shooting.
Okay. Which way did they leave?
I don't know, I don't remember.
Which way was that car facing?
Like I'm to the right, it was to my right.
Can you draw it on the map for me where you saw that car? Okay, the arrow means the direction the car was facing. Okay, in that car, do you know if it was coming or going?
That's just it.
Okay. Do you know how long it had been sitting there?
No, when I ran around the building, I seen it, I was like, get out of here, somebody shooting.
Okay. Did you recognize who was in that car?
One of my friends.
Okay. So was it a friend's boyfriend, girlfriend?
Girl.
It was a girl. Okay. Did that car subsequently leave?
Yeah, I guess so, I don't know.
Okay. Later in the night, you didn't see it there?
No.
Okay. How was your brother dressed that night? By that, I mean, what did he have on the upper part of his body?
A hoodie.
A black hoodie?
Yes.
Do you recall whether or not the light on the back porch was on or off?
I don't remember.
Nothing further. Thank you, sir.
You reckon, Your Honor?
No, sir.
Ms. Lee?
No, sir.
Thank you, Dr. May. Have a seat. You may report for the next witness. Please raise your hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give in the case now on trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please have a seat, sir.
Let's get up close to the mic so we can pick up your answer. Give us your name and spell your first and last name for the court.
Zaevion Malone, Xaviermalone.
How old are you, Mr. Long?
17.
Sir, if you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the case now on trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please have a seat, sir. Speak to the microphone.
Give us your name, please, sir.
Louis McNair.
How old are you, Mr. McNair?
I'm 18.
18. And where do you live?
In Lonsdale.
You want to get rid of your gun?
Yeah.
How long have you lived over there?
I've been, at first, when I was young, I used to live out there for like seven years, and then I moved out because we was moving around, like we was going to different schools and stuff, because my dad, no, just wanted to move. But as far as that, back in the 6th grade, I moved, 7th grade, I moved back to Lonsdale. I live on Bishop Street.
Okay. And when you moved back, were you friends with Zach and Zaevion?
Yes, they were
Had you already been friends with them before that?
friends my whole life.
Your whole life? Okay. Where do you go to school now?
I went to Central High School.
Central.
Yes, sir.
Did you go to Central the entire time you were in high school?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you graduated from Central?
Yes, sir.
Now, back in December of 2015, do you remember the last day of school?
Yes, sir.
For the spring, I apologize, the Christmas break?
Yes, sir.
What did you do that day?
Immediately after school, I went home. I was just on the game. I was on the game the whole entire time until I called Faith to see what she was doing. And I was like, I'm trying to hang, so we was hanging. And
Now, who is Faith to you? Faith, what's her last name?
Gordon,
And what was your relationship with her at the time?
that's my best friend.
Okay.
And I asked her to meet me halfway, so she met me halfway.
Where'd she meet you?
In the middle of like Pasco, it's Pasco and Minnesota. So Minnesota right there, and we met in the middle of Pasco and Minnesota. So like it's like 2 intersections, like with the one by the playground and the one right there in the middle of the neighborhood.
Now, since you've lived there quite a while, are you familiar with whether or not that is some sort of gang territory?
Yes, sir.
What gang territory is that you know of?
Crips?
Are you a Crip?
No, sir.
Are you in any gang?
No, sir. I'm an athlete.
Now, so you met Faith halfway?
Yes, sir.
What'd you do after you met Faith?
I think she had talked to mommy before we had went up to her auntie house. But she had talked to one of my little cousins, and we had went up to her auntie house, and then we was up there for a little second, and then later I had called Zach and them, and I told them to come out there like, hey, we can hang. So they had met me there.
Did they come directly to this?
Yes, but they was telling me that it was coming from the game because I had called them and they was telling me to be in the car. I was like, oh, y'all better come out here anyway. Well, I'm up the street from y'all.
Okay. So they were in the car when you called?
Yes, sir.
And who was there when Zach and Zaevion and Xavier got there?
It was just me, Kiara, and Faith. And that's all.
And how long had you been there, did you say?
I had just been there like probably like 20 minutes or like, yeah, before that.
And where were you when you where'd you go when you got there?
When I got there, I walked straight in and we talked for a little bit. I sat in the living room and she had it's like chairs in the living room and I sat in the chair.
At some point, did you go to the back porch?
Not at all. Not until Zach got there.
Oh, and that's what I meant. After they got there, were you on to go to the back porch?
Yes, sir.
How long were you on the back porch before something happened?
No longer than like 10 minutes.
And what were you doing on the back porch or talking about?
We just chilling, talking about, like, I don't know, just talking. I know I was listening to music.
Okay. You have an iPod or phone?
Yeah, I just playing it on my phone.
Okay. So tell us what happened when something started happening.
So, like you said, like 10 minutes passed. I had just, I don't know what made me look over. And I just looked over and I just seen, like 4 dudes in the middle of the street. I was like, yo, it's time to go.
Why did you say that?
Because they was dressed in all black. And what did it do is they just walked off the sidewalk and he had his hands in the hoodie. One of them, it was like 2 on the right side and 1 on the other side of him. And I was like, nah, it's time to go. As soon as Zach stepped off the porch, they started shooting.
Now, were you looking at them when they started shooting?
No, sir. I just hopped off the porch like right after Zach. But did you know how the porch built? I was sitting on the rail.
Okay.
Right there.
So you were sitting on the rail?
Yeah, and that's when I saw him. I was sitting down, and I saw him. It's like, as soon as Zach stepped off the porch, they just started shooting at him.
And what do you remember happening next?
Zach, so Zach in front of me, but he don't know he in front of me, but and I didn't know Xavier was behind me, but I'm like running behind him, but like I'm crouch running, and Zach stumbling, so he had ran up the hill, but at first like I started to fall, so I was like about to go behind this air vent, then a bullet hit the air vent, so I just decided to keep straight and then just make this right, because like when I was young, like we used to go into this factory and stuff, so I knew like a good place where we could go and hide. So I had just ran to the right of like we stepped on the porch and I went right, and then I made another right, and then I jumped. Do you want to know that?
Yeah, we'll talk, we'll talk about this, but how many, when you say, how many bullets or how many shots do you remember hearing?
I just know it was a lot, but yeah, it was a lot.
Now, you mentioned one, hearing it strike something as you were starting to run.
Yes, sir.
Did I say that right? Were you aware of any other bullets around you?
No, I just heard them passing me.
Okay, can you describe how you heard them passing you?
I just passing me.
You remember how many times you heard that sound?
No, sir.
So you came off porch, went right again. Where did you go?
As Xavier was explaining, it was like this fence that led into this factory, and I had just jumped over that, and then like I had got like a couple of feet down like the hill, it's like a couple of rocks, and Xavier was like, help me get over the fence, so and then he had jumped over, and then ran to the other one. Like the way the factory is set up, like where I came from like you know how Western Avenue is,
Okay.
and you know where the Dollar General is.
The Dollar General on Western.
Yes, sir. And like it's a right there, but the factory is like straight right there. So when I had ran, I had jumped over the main gate fence, and I had ran over there, and I was like, we can go hide under these things until I call my friend. So I'm about to call him and tell him to come pick us up so we can leave.
Who are you calling to come pick you up?
One of my friends. His name is J.D. Sackett.
Okay. Now, you know Devontae Patrick as well?
Yes, I knew he was with him because I had talked to Devontae earlier that day, and he was gonna come down there earlier.
Okay.
But
You remember talking to him on the phone during part of this?
yes.
When did you talk to him on the phone?
Like earlier, that as soon as like when I had first came to hang with Faith and them, I had talked to him then, and I was like, come down here. Like I called him, and then I called my other part of my friends, because he didn't want to come, so I called my other friend. So that's how I got in contact with Zach.
Did he call you?
No, sir.
Or did you call him?
I called him.
Do you remember ever telling him that there was shooting going on?
No, but he had called me when we was in the factory, like, cause it was still shooting. Like, when we got over the first fence, they was still shooting, and he had called me, and he was like, "Bruh, go to the house, bruh. They shooting." I was like, "I know they just shot at us. I don't know why, but they shot at us." And at first, I thought it was Zach, because I didn't know where he was, and nobody was answering the phone. So.
Have they picked you up at some point?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you go?
We went to go drop Xavier down the street by this store called Burnside, and it's a street called Burnside, and we dropped him off on that street so he can go to his house.
Did you make it back to Lonsdale at some point?
Yes, sir. I went straight back to the scene.
You remember talking to Officer Crump?
Yes, sir.
You remember being upset when you talked to him?
Yes, sir.
And were you here when we showed Force and Officer Crump's video? Were you here this morning?
This
morning?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Were you able to hear your voice on there?
Yes, sir.
Could you understand what you were telling Officer Crump?
By the time I had talked to him, it was like I had got there before them. So when I had got there, I had run in the house, and Zach, this was when Zach left the first time, like, well, the second time, because he didn't know, he didn't remember that he saw me, but Faith and him, that was like, he gone, and then I had went to the back porch, and as soon as I walked to the back porch, Zach took off. So.
Did you see Zaevion on the back porch?
Yes, sir.
And is that what upset you?
Yes, sir.
Pass it.
Cross-examination, Mr. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Mr. McNair, you and I have never met before today, have we?
No, sir.
Okay, you're aware that I represent Mr. Bassett, correct?
Sure.
Okay. And relative to this matter, Mr. Morton made a point of going over where you had resided at various times in your life, and I believe you related that on 2 separate occasions you lived in the Lonsdale community, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Morton asked you if you knew about gangs and if that was, and I believe you said Crip territory, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you think the place that you live in Knoxville, Knox County, Tennessee defines whether or not you're a gang member or not?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Okay. You live on what would be considered the west side, Lonsdale.
Yes, sir.
You're not a gang member, are you?
No, sir.
There are people that live on the east side, and they're not gang members, are they?
Yes, sir.
So the place of your residence no more defines you being a gang member than just some artificially created east or west, right?
Exactly that question. He's not an expert on the game.
Well, you asked him if he was familiar with Lonsdale community. I think the form of your question is argumentative, so if you could rephrase it to give his information.
I'll be glad to do that, Your Honor. Relatively speaking, just because you live on the west side, you're not a Crip, right?
Yes, sir.
And just because you live on the east side, you're not a Blood, are you?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what that means. I'm not no Crip or nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wouldn't go shoot at nobody.
Okay. And just because you live on the east side doesn't mean you're a Blood, does it?
No, sir.
Okay. And now, when you're on the back porch, do you recall describing this in a telephone interview that occurred with my private investigator? It was a lady. She called you.
She said she was from Atlanta. Yes, sir. I remember that.
Yes, sir.
And she had asked me, did I put a gun on Zaevion? No.
She asked you some questions, correct?
That's the only question she asked me, sir.
She didn't ask you what all happened?
No.
Okay, I don't think that was my lady.
She had asked, what did you do when you had came back? She said, asked me, did I touch him? I was like, no, I just had seen his body, but I had got close enough to like see that he was dead. And she was like, I don't think she had heard me, but then she was like, did you touch him? And I was like, no ma'am, I didn't. Then she had asked me, did I put a gun on him? I was like, and I had got mad. I said, did you hear anything about me ever putting a gun on my little cousin? Like, no, ever, never, ever.
How many people have you talked to about this?
Just that separate person.
Just that separate person and the law enforcement people?
I don't understand, I guess.
Okay, well, you talked to Officer Leffler or representatives of the Knoxville Police Department on the night it happened, right?
Yes, sir.
And they showed you a lineup, right?
Yes, sir.
Photographs of young black men?
Yes, sir.
And you couldn't identify anybody, could you?
No, sir.
And it's your statement here today under oath that this investigator asked you about putting a gun on this young man?
Yes, sir.
And are you as sure of that as everything else you've testified to?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, are you sure of what you're saying is everything else that you've testified here today? That this investigator asked you about a gun?
Yes, sir.
And you swear to that?
Swear to God. On God.
Do you know whether or not the back porch light was on?
It was.
And I believe in the order that you described things, you actually saw Mr. Dobson on the porch in his state before Zach saw him, correct?
No.
Zach saw him first?
They had informed me. I said, because I had ran into the factory and we was waiting on our ride, and Zach had got back before me. 'Cause
Okay.
on the map, he showed you that he didn't run that far, so he had came back, and I had pulled up, and I came up as it, and I got out of the car, and I was like, he come, because I had ran inside the house, because I want to check on people.
And the individual that you had pick you up, you referred to him as JD. He also goes, his legal name's Jadarius, correct?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further. Thank you, sir.
Mr. McNair, you said you saw 4 men?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, and they had on black hoodies?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Could you see their hair?
No, they every single last one of them had all their hood on.
Okay. And you couldn't see their face?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And do you recall what you were wearing that night?
Yes,
What were you wearing?
I was wearing a light blue polo jacket and it had a zipper on it, and the hood was down.
Okay, that's all I have here.
You right?
Motion.
Mr. Jones?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You can step down. Folks, go ahead and take our after recess. Please do not assess the case among yourselves. You need to know Mr. Jared. I'll see you in about 10 minutes. All right, we're going to take a 2-minute recess. Let me just caution everybody. I know it's hard. This is a stressful situation. Sometimes we laugh out loud just to deal with the stress. But when the jury's in here, it's very important that everybody in the audience remains as stoic as possible. That means just sit there and not having a reaction to anything. I know that's really hard to ask you to do, but I need you to do that just to make sure that the jury isn't being influenced in any way. I don't think anybody's done anything inappropriate. I'm just cautioning you now. We need to make sure that we're not having any reactions, either laughing or anything else like that, just to make sure they can focus and concentrate. All right, let's take 10-minute recess. Oh, welcome back, everyone. Our next witness is our Miss Gordon. Can I see your t-shirt? Is that Mr. Dobson? All right. I want to ask you, if you don't mind lifting that up, okay, when the jury comes in. I don't mean to be disrespectful to Dobson. I just don't want to have any things on it. That way we don't have to worry about a bill. Okay? All right, General, and after you go back and sit down, you can sit again. All right, General, ready for the jury?
State's ready.
You ready, Mr. Jones?
I am ready, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ready, Mr. Rogers? All right, Ms. Gordon, I'm asking you to remain standing. Anyone else can have a seat. State, wait, call through. Mr. Jones, wait, call.
So what, Your Honor?
Ms. Lee, wait, call. Mr. Rogers. All right, folks, the next witness is on the stand. Ma'am, can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the case now on trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please have a seat again and speak loudly in the microphone.
Give us your name, please.
Faith Gordon,
And Faith, can you spell your first name
FALTA,
and your last name?
EORTO,
How old are you?
19,
Where are you from?
Knoxville, Tennessee,
Tell us what elementary school did you attend?
Infield, and Norwood,
Enskip and Norwood. What about middle school?
Oakland, and Bergen,
In Beard. What about high school?
Fulton Head now.
So what area of town did you grow up in?
I guess West,
All right. Now, back on December 17, 2015, did you know Zach Dobson?
yes,
Zaevion Dobson?
yes,
Xavier Malone?
a little bit,
Louis McNair?
yes,
Kiara Rooker?
yes,
Did I get everybody? Now, you recall that day?
yes.
Tell us about, before you got to your aunt's house, tell us what were you doing earlier?
We got out of school and I went to Kiara's house and we was with our friends.
And where was Kiara's house?
By Fulton,
Okay. So what were you doing over there?
we was just with our friends, children.
All right. So what did you do later?
And then we went to Tasha's house.
And how did you, tell us how that came about?
We asked her, can we go out there?
And was that normal?
Yes,
And so after asking her that, did you go out there?
yes.
How did you get out there?
Kiara mom dropped us off.
When you got to Miss Culver's house, what happened?
I called Julie.
And again, is that normal?
Yes.
After calling Dewey, what did you do?
He came up, well, we met him.
And yet Dewey, that Lewis McNair, is he the jokester of the group?
Yes.
And so, where did you meet him at?
That night?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. What happened once you met him?
We went back to Tasha's house and we went to the room.
So y'all are you walking or how are you
Yeah, we walked back.
Is that normal?
Yes.
What happens when you get back to Latasha's house?
We were sitting there, and then we made some food, and then he called Zach and them, and they came.
Once they got there, what all did y'all do?
Well, we sat on the porch for like 10 minutes, and then we saw them.
Now I want to, let me show you, I want you to point out where everyone was on the porch. If you can recall.
That's our best time to get him on. So, don't mind.
You recognize Exhibit 15? You recognize that shot there?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I should.
Yeah, the couple on the right there, you hit those.
Okay, me and Kiara was in the chairs, Dewey on the rail, Zach beside him, Zaevion standing by the door.
So here's your laser pointer. There's right there. Can you point out up there on the wall? Where were you sitting?
Right here,
Okay.
and then Kiara right here.
So for the record, you pointed out you were sitting in the chair closest to the storage door,
Yeah,
and which chair was Kiara sitting in?
the one by the door.
The door to the back, to the apartment?
Yeah,
Okay. Where was Xavier sitting? Or where was he?
I think he was right here, like standing up over right here.
Okay. What about Zach?
Right there too, somewhere. I'm gonna say Zach was right here, this Dewey, and then this Zaevion.
Okay. And Zach and Dewey, were they sitting or standing?
On the rail. They were sitting on the rail.
Sitting on the rail?
Yeah.
Xavier, was he sitting or standing? If you recall.
I don't know.
Okay. And what about Zaevion? Where was Zaevion?
He was standing
And where was he standing?
by the other rail by the door. It's another rail right there, but you can't see it in the picture.
Okay, can you show us where it's, I mean, I know you can't see it, where is it at in the picture? Okay, that railing there. And so Zaevion is standing there or sitting there?
I'm gonna say standing.
Okay. Now what are y'all talking, what are you and Kiara, what are y'all talking about?
We just laughing, talking about the basketball game.
What are the guys talking about?
I don't know, probably the same thing.
Okay. Were you talking to the guys or talking to Kiara?
I'm gonna say probably a mixture of both.
Okay. What happens while y'all sitting there on the back porch?
Literally, it was like we said what's up. Probably had like a 2-second conversation. Then do we see them? We all look. He's like, I think we should run.
All right, hang on 1 second. Do you look?
Yeah.
Can you go to the next slide? Do you recognize the view from Exhibit 124?
Yes.
On Exhibit 124, when you look, what did you see? When Dewey made that statement, what did you do?
Yeah, we look. They standing like by the stop sign, right there.
Using the laser pointer. Can you show the jury on Exhibit 124 where you saw folks standing? What did you notice about it?
It was dark. They did start shooting some, but in my head, I'm thinking it's fireworks. So I wasn't taking it serious.
Well, slow down. Before the noise happens, what do you notice? When you look over there and you see them standing there near the stop sign, what do you notice about them?
Nothing, they just standing there. But we got scared, so we turned off our phones.
Okay.
Well, it was, yeah.
Slow down for 1 second. When you look over there, do you recall approximately how many people you saw?
3 to 4.
Do you recall anything at all about how they were dressed?
It was dark.
What was dark?
They clothes, everything was dark. Like, it just looked like you could see them, but you can't see their face or what they had on.
And you said it was 3 to 4?
Mhm.
How were they positioned?
Like lined up,
Okay. And lined up facing what?
facing us.
All right, so I apologize. And you were telling us about turning off your phones. I take it you guys had your phones?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so you look up, you see the 4 people lined up. Tell us what happens after that.
Well, Dewey say run, and I look up, him, Zach, and Xavier, they gone. And I'm looking at him, but I'm just standing there, Kiara's sitting there. I don't know what Zaevion was doing at the time. And then I'm laughing, and I'm like, why y'all scared? And he pulled me down. And when he pulled me down, we got these chairs, and we trying to put them on top of us. And it was like, it was quiet. Like, when I realized it was getting shot at for real, it just was quiet. Nobody was talking. It just was quiet. And then Key got up and was like, I'm gonna open the door, y'all crawl in. So she opened the door, and I get up, but Zaevion on top of me, and he not moving. So I try to like pull him off of me, and I just see it's a whole lot of blood, and we run in the house.
Before the 4 people that were lined up, before you heard what you thought at first were firecrackers, did they say anything?
No,
So what was the first thing you heard?
gunshots.
What's the next thing you heard?
Nothing. I mean, besides me laughing, nothing.
Why were you laughing?
Because I'm getting we was getting shot at for real.
What happened after that?
So we go in the house and we run upstairs, and I say, Tasha, what happened? She was like, what you mean? And I said, Zaevion dead, but can't nobody understand what I'm saying. So we go, I show Key first, but I call my best friend, and she like, are you playing? So I hang up, and I call Zach, but I got Zach's phone in my hand, so I'm calling myself, but I ain't know that. So then, after I get done calling Zach, I call Monty,
You called who?
this girl named Monty. And then I call her, and I tell her, and I hang up, and I call my mama, she wasn't answering, then I called my nanny, and she was on break. And then I'm screaming, yeah, she was at work. And I'm just screaming in the phone, and she can't understand what I'm saying, so I hang up again.
What happens after that?
We go upstairs, this after they got done shooting, we go upstairs, and we hear Zach knocking on the door, but don't nobody open the door, because we all scared. And we thinking it's the people who were shooting. So Kiara like, it's Zach, so we go downstairs, we open the door, and he come in, and he like, is everybody okay? And I'm screaming, but I don't know if he can understand what I'm saying, but, so I just take him to the back porch.
What do you notice on the back porch?
Zaevion, he's standing there, where he laying there.
What happens after that?
He leave,
She leaves.
Zach left. He ran out. And I was going to chase him, but I was scared. So I called Dewey. And I told Dewey what happened, but he on his way back. And then the next door neighbor come across the street, and she said she thought it was Dewey that was dead. So I'm thinking they both dead. So I'm just screaming, and then everybody started popping up.
What happens after that?
I get put in a police car.
You go down to the police department,
Mm-hmm.
and then you give a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Were you able to hear in Officer Crump's in-car video?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear your voice?
Yeah, but I don't remember talking to him that night.
That's what's.
Ms. Lee?
Miss Gordon, do you remember when you were interviewed by the police that night?
Yes.
And do you remember when you said you saw guys down at the stop sign, do you remember what they looked like?
It was dark.
Okay. You couldn't tell what color clothes they had on? Okay. So you don't remember telling the police that one had a blue hoodie on?
I did tell him that, but I did tell him that night.
You told them that night? Okay. Okay. And was there any time that you were on top of Zaevion?
It was all moving on top of the porch. Like, it was all moving, just
Okay.
scared.
Do you remember telling the police that you got on top of Zaevion?
He was on top of me at the end.
But at one time you were on top of him?
Like, we all was just moving on top of each other because we trying to put some chairs on top of us.
You were trying to put chairs on top of you? Okay. So can you explain to me when you said Zaevion was on top of you? How was that?
I don't remember.
Was he crawling on you?
We just always moving on top of each other.
On the
porch, we laying down.
You're laying
We
down.
scared, so.
So he was moving on top of you, but at one point you were on top of him.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you were interviewed by the police that night, you didn't say anything about turning your cell phones off.
Okay.
But you remember that now,
Yeah.
2 years later? But you didn't remember that when you talked to the
I
police?
don't even know what I was telling them when we was in there.
Okay. So you don't remember that you didn't tell the police that?
No.
And you just thought of it now?
I mean, we hadn't talked about it for 2 years straight.
Okay. You have talked about it?
Yes.
Who have you talked to about it?
Kiara. It was on the porch.
In the 2 years since this happened, you've talked to everybody that was on the porch that night?
I mean, when it first happened.
Okay.
Okay. Up afterwards.
And who else have you talked to about it?
Them
Who's them?
sitting in front of us.
Okay. The district attorneys?
Yeah.
Okay. How many times have you talked to them?
I don't know.
You don't know. Have you talked to them during the trial?
Before.
Before the trial? Okay. So you've listened to your interview with the police?
Go ahead and say yes or no.
Yes.
When's the last time you listened to your interview?
I don't know.
When?
I don't know.
In the last month?
I don't know. Whenever I come down to the school, when we just talk to them, I don't know.
So you don't recall when's the last time you...
No.
Okay. So you don't recall telling the police that there was 2 taller men and 1 short one?
I did say that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did tell me.
Okay. But when I asked you what they look like, you couldn't describe that to me
What did you say?
just now.
Okay.
So when the shooting happened, was everybody standing up? Okay. What was Zaevion doing?
No.
It's just heartburn at times.
Okay. Zaevion was sitting down?
I said he was standing up.
He was standing up?
I just assumed, but before they were shooting, I'm not really paying attention to him.
Okay. And do you recall telling the police that you saw them pull something out? All 3 of them were shooting?
Yes.
Okay. How many shots did you hear?
I don't know.
And where was your auntie's car parked at?
In the back.
In the back?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. And what color was that car?
A car like silver. Gold.
Okay. That's all I have, Warren.
That's right.
Just a second ago, you said that whenever, at first you thought it was fireworks, right?
Yeah.
And then, was it Dewey or someone said they're shooting, or did someone yell out that someone was shooting, or?
He said us around before they started shooting.
Okay. And then I think you testified that you turned your cell phones off because you were scared? Is that so that they wouldn't be lit up?
I mean, there wasn't no lights on, and the people just standing right there, so we don't know what to do, so.
Okay. Thank you, that's all I have.
I noticed that on direct, and I'd sort of seen a pattern. Have you been in the courtroom? I noticed that the judge swore you. Have you been sitting in the courtroom today?
Yeah,
Okay. So have you seen other people testify?
yeah,
Okay. And you saw other folks get asked whether or not they're a gang member, right?
yes,
Are you a gang member?
no,
The fact that you live on the west side doesn't make you a gang member, does it?
no,
The fact you live on the east side doesn't make you a gang member, does it?
no.
Nothing further. Thank you, ma'am.
Just briefly, I just want to, show you again Exhibit 15. Do you recognize that being Ms. Colbert's car there?
Yes.
And that's where it was parked at during the shooting? Okay, that's all.
Ms. Lee? Why can't you sit down?
Kiara?
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the case now on trial will be the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, nothing but? And you say yes or no?
Yes.
All right, please have a seat, man. Speak in the microphone.
Give us your name, please.
Kiara Rucker,
Can you spell your first name, please?
Kiara,
And ma'am, how old are you?
18,
Where are you from?
Knoxville.
What area of town did you grow up in?
I guess the north side, you know what
Elementary school. What elementary school did you go to?
I'm saying? In school.
Middle school.
Gresham for 6th and 7th, and then I went to it was my grade year.
What about your senior high school years? Where did you go?
4th.
All the folks that have testified here, all the young folks that have testified here so far, you're familiar with them?
Yes,
And you were so familiar back on December 17, 2015.
yes.
Tell us about that day.
We got out early for Christmas break, and I went home, and Faith came with me, and we was hanging out with some friends at my house, and then that's when we was going to her auntie's to stay the night. My mama dropped us off, and then we went and picked up Dewey. Well, we went and walked and met Dewey, and then we went back to Tasha's house. We was in the living room talking. Dewey called Zach. They came to the back porch, and I was making food. And then we went outside, and that's when everything started happening.
All right, so when you get outside, who all's on the porch?
Zaevion Dobson, Louis McNair, Zach Dobson, Faith Gordon, they said, yeah, Dobson.
What are y'all talking about on the back porch?
I don't know, I think I was laughing at Dewey. That's what I remember.
And again,
Everybody else was having outside conversations about the game and other stuff.
and is Louis, is he the jokester of the group?
Yes, it was funny.
And so all right, so while you're laughing at Louis, what happens?
Like probably a couple minutes later, he got up and was saying, we need to get up, we need to go in the house because there's people out there.
So because of his position with your group, being a jokester, when he makes that comment to y'all, what do you think?
At first I was just looking at him, but then I looked when he was looking in that direction, I looked, but then that's when I seen people.
So initially, did you take him serious?
Yeah, after I seen the people.
No, before you saw the people.
Oh, well no, because I didn't see nobody until I looked over there.
You think he was joking?
Not until I looked.
All right, so when you, he makes the comment, what do you do?
Just look at the people while they looking at us.
And when you look at the people, tell us what do you notice about the people?
Just, the first two people I seen by the stop sign was short and like a normal sized person.
Okay.
And then it was just dark. I didn't see nobody, but I just seen more than two people.
I was going to ask you, how many people do you recall seeing?
More than two people.
More than 2 people. Do you recall anything at all about the manner in which they were dressed?
Just black, dark. I believe I saw a white shirt, but I just know it was dark. Somebody had on black.
So when you notice the people, what do you do?
After Dewey run, they start shooting and I just get down.
What was going through your mind?
I don't know. I was just scared, really. Wasn't nothing with my mind, I was just scared. Because I knew they were shooting at us, so.
How did you know they were shooting at you?
Just because, I mean, not us, but I just knew they were shooting in that direction.
How did you know they were shooting
Hearing
at
the
your
bullets, hitting the door and the walls and everything.
So what do you do?
Huh?
What do you do next?
I was on the ground and trying to get Faith on the ground too. Zaevion had already dropped to the ground as soon as they started shooting. He was in front.
What happens after that?
And then I just know, like, I guess Zaevion moved the chairs up because I didn't touch them, but we did have chairs over us. And then after that, it was like, I mean, it kind of took a break. And then they started shooting again, and I just remembered that the door was unlocked, so I got up and ran in the house and trying to get Faith and Zaevion to come with me, because as soon as I ran in the house, Faith ran too, but Zaevion didn't. We ran upstairs.
When did you realize that Zaevion didn't make it into the house?
Until we came back downstairs, because Faith kept screaming and she kept saying he got shot, but that's all I thought, like he just got shot. And then after, like, they kept shooting and stuff, when we went back downstairs, that's when I seen him.
Describe that.
I mean, the door was open, and I just saw blood just coming out into the kitchen. That's all I saw.
Describe that.
And then I guess we was outside. The police came. That's when the police was outside, and everybody was out there.
Talk to the police.
Oh yeah, I was looking for my phone.
Were you able to find your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And did you go down to the police department?
Yes.
Give a statement.
Yes.
Now, at the time that you gave a statement to the police, you said you're 18 now.
Yes.
How old were you at the time?
16.
Same age as Faith?
No, I don't think so.
Is Faith older or younger?
Faith older than me. She's 19.
Pastor Hicks.
Roger's mask.
So you said when you first looked down by the stop sign, you saw two people down there,
Yes.
and they were wearing dark clothing? Okay. And I think you said you thought you saw someone in a white shirt?
Yes.
Okay, was he with that group?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
Jones.
Give me just 2 seconds,
Take
Sheriff.
your time.
After both sets of shooting stopped, law enforcement at some point in time arrived to the scene, correct?
Yes.
And you had a discussion with law enforcement officers, right?
Yes.
And they took you down to the Knoxville Police Department, correct?
No.
They didn't?
No.
Okay.
The police taking me down there?
Well, did you go down to, okay, I'm sorry. I assumed, and that's a terrible thing to do. Who took you down to the Knoxville Police Department?
My mom.
Okay. So you went down with your mother to the Knoxville Police Department and you cooperated in the investigation, correct?
Yes.
And they showed you a photo lineup.
Yes.
And in that photo lineup, they asked if you could identify, excuse me, my tongue got tied. Let me just rephrase it. In that photo lineup, they asked you if you could identify anyone, didn't they?
Yes.
And you told them no.
Yes.
And where do you live?
In the house by 14.
About where?
In the house by 14.
Okay. And is that considered east or west?
I
Okay.
guess the north side, really, I don't know.
Okay. You're not in a gang, are you? Nothing further.
This way.
No question, John.
You ready?
No, sir.
Ms. Rogers. Hey, maybe it's next witness.
Devontae?
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the case now on trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please have a seat, sir. Speak your mind.
Give your name, sir,
Devontae Patrick.
and you can position that microphone so it's.
Speak up a little bit closer, it'll get higher if you like.
Can you spell your first name, please?
Devante,
And your last name?
Patrick.
How old are you?
17,
And, sir, where are you from?
Knoxville.
What elementary school did you attend?
Knoxville,
What middle school
Northwest,
and high school?
West.
Back 2015, where were you living?
Lonsdale,
How long had you been living in Lonsdale?
really my whole life.
Now, where at in Lonsdale did you live at the time?
Sherman,
Can you describe the layout of Lonsdale to us?
you know, like,
Matter of fact, if you want to step down and it's okay.
Sounds right.
I'm gonna hold this and why don't you point out the layout of Lonsdale to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury? You have to speak up a little bit louder though.
This is where high school is.
I'm Sherman. You got to speak a little bit louder.
Really, everybody back here, this is where everybody would be there, back here. I live over there.
What is this area right here?
It's the park. I mean, it's where we go play basketball. Right here.
Where is the school at?
Should be right here. Yes, right here.
And what school is that? So you got Lonsdale Elementary and you said the park here, where are the basketball courts? Right. And you said this is where you stay here in Sherman?
Yeah, right here on Sherman. Yes.
What is this area right here on Delaware?
It looks like a preschool.
The preschool? You said, and where did you say everyone stays at? In the back? Now, are you aware of whether or not there are any gangs in Lonsdale?
Yes.
What gang?
Crib.
Crips. Is there an area in Lonsdale where a lot of the Crips stay?
Past. Right here. When you back down Texas.
Yes, sir.
I'll be right here. Sometimes I'll be on Minnesota.
So we got Texas, Pascal, and Minnesota. Are you aware of whether or not any of them are down here where all the people stay?
No.
Okay. Have you seen?
You said, just hit right now, see if there's Mr. Patton, you said no. Are you saying no, you're not aware, or no, that they don't hang out down there?
No, they don't.
They don't hang out down
No, sir. Right.
So just because Crips live in Lonsdale, does that mean that everybody in Lonsdale is a Crip?
No.
On December 17, 2015, what were your plans that day? What were you doing that day?
I mean, I really was chilling. It was like the first day of Christmas break. I was just chilling, regular day.
So after school, where did you go?
I went home.
And who do you live with?
My grandmother,
And what is her name?
Phyllis.
So while you're there at the house with your grandmom, what happens?
I mean, I'm really just playing the game, really sleeping through the day.
What game were you playing?
2K.
Basketball game?
Mm-hmm.
Video games, what we're talking about?
Yes.
All right, so what happens after you play your video game and sleep?
I mean, I called up one of my friends. We were just trying to all chill really that day because it was the first day of Christmas break. So y'all were trying to chill. And I mean, we got supposed to really link up that day.
All right, and what friend did you call?
JD.
JD, what is his name?
Jadarius.
And his last name?
Saki.
Saki? Jadarius Sackey. And approximately how old is he?
He probably like 18.
I mean, he's your age?
Yeah, same age as me.
What school did he attend?
Central.
And where did he live, approximately?
He lived in the back.
In Lonsdale.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're calling him up, what plans are you trying to make with him?
And really just link up with everybody, see what everybody's doing.
And when you say everybody, who else were you gonna link up with?
Zach, Louis, Zaevion, all of them.
Were you able to reach Jadarius?
For a moment, no.
Okay.
But I mean, I did though.
And so after reaching up with him, were you able to develop a plan?
Yes.
What was your plan?
I mean, we all gonna go down to his house and chill, really.
And when you say go down to his house, going back to this exhibit on 585, can you show us where his house is?
Just to clarify, when you say he, you're talking about listing there.
I apologize. Can you show us where Darius's house is? Again, back there where you said everyone lives, where there's not any threats on hang out. And who all was gonna, I guess, hang out there at Darius's house?
Me, Louis, Zach, Zaevion, whoever wanted to come down there, really. We was really seeing what everybody was on.
And what were y'all gonna do?
Probably play the game.
What game were y'all gonna play?
Either 2K or Madden.
Either 2K or Madden? For the record, and for the record, what type of game is Madden?
Football.
All right, so after developing this plan, tell us what happens.
I mean, well, as that's going on, from trying to get everything situated, I walk outside the house, and I go on my porch, and I look to the right, and I'm looking, and it's like 8 people, and they're all black. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh yeah, that don't look too good.
Tell us why. What about that made you say that don't look too good?
I mean, when you see people in all black, at like 10, it don't look good. I mean, and it really don't, not ever really happen in Lonsdale like that. For nobody, like, for people to come out there in all black at like 10, it don't look good at all.
What do you think is going to happen?
It looked like they was on some.
Well, Your Honor, I object. He's speculating. He can say and describe what he saw, but
He can say what he was thinking at the time to show what his state of mind was, but he can't speculate what they were doing.
Yes, sir. What were you thinking at the time?
I mean, don't say nothing because it looked like they was on something.
On what? What does that mean?
I mean, it looked like they was trying to like do something.
What was it about them? What did you notice about them? What were they doing?
They looked like they was like nervous or something.
Why did you say that?
I mean, because they always moving funny. They weren't moving like how people just walk through somewhere to move. They was moving like they was like looking for something.
Can you just demonstrate to the court how they were moving?
I mean,
Is it okay for you to step down and show us how they were moving?
It's all of them, right? You know what I'm saying? They all moving funny, though, right? They like looking around.
So demonstrate for us.
Okay, so they walking. They like looking around trying to figure out something. Like, I don't know. They just look like they was doing something.
Living in Lonsdale, do you know the vast majority of people that live in Lonsdale?
yes.
Did you recognize those 8 people?
No.
How did that make you feel?
That's like what it automatically, that's when I was like, nah, they don't look like they from out here. Cause nobody from out there gonna be walking out black at like 10, looking weird.
What happened?
Well, I'm still standing on the porch, right? And you know what I'm saying? They all walking. And like, all of them, like, except one, go to the right. They start walking down to where Louis was. But I'm on the porch and one, he walking, and he stopped like right in front of my house. And he questioned, he was like, what's bracking? And I'm like, what's up, fam? And he like, what you bang? I'm like, I don't bang. And
After that, I just went in the house.
When he said what's bragging, what did you take that to mean?
He from the east side.
Why do you say that?
Because I mean, that's what all the east side people say.
Everybody in East Knoxville, do they speak like that?
No, not everybody.
Based upon your understanding, your thought process, who from East Knoxville speaks like that?
The Bloods.
And so what's bracken, what did you understand what's bracken to mean?
What's up?
When he asked you what you banged, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
What's bracket mean to me?
What's the second?
The second.
He asked me what I banged.
All right. And whenever he asked you the question, what did you bang, what did you understand that to mean?
He was asking me was I in the game.
What did you say?
I don't bang him. That's what I said to him.
How did that make you feel?
I was just shocked. I was like, dang, they really out here like that. Shocking to me.
What were you thinking was going to happen? How did all of this make you feel? What did you do next?
Well, after that, I went in the house and I was telling my granny to go upstairs because I didn't know what they was on.
Why?
Because I just felt like, I mean, it's a whole lot of them and they only see me outside. So I was just expecting them to try to come to my crib.
All right, so in Lonsdale, do you expect to see Bloods in Lonsdale?
No,
Why not?
that's not where that's not their territory or something. They just not where they're supposed to be,
Where is their territory?
on the east side.
Are you saying everybody in East Knoxville's a Blood?
No,
Are you saying that nobody from East Knoxville comes to Lonsdale?
no, it's just
Who?
like Bloods. They don't come to Lonsdale.
So when you go inside, what do you tell your grandma?
I told her that I seen 8 people outside, and they looked like they was on, so I just told her to go upstairs. And the whole time she think that I'm playing, I'm like, I'm not playing, Granny, go upstairs, it's serious. But she thought I was playing, so me and her arguing about going upstairs. So as we arguing, getting her to go upstairs, she go upstairs finally, but she peeking out the window still trying to see. But we walk up the steps, and I'm on the phone. I'm about to call Dewey, and as I'm calling Dewey, he on the phone already running. So I'm like, dang, you already running? I was just about to tell you to go inside because it was like people out there that didn't look like they belonged out there. He was running though.
All right, can you explain to the jury, you say you're about to call Dewey, and you can tell he's running. How are you calling Dewey?
FaceTime.
FaceTime. And so do you actually call him, or does he call you?
I call him.
You call him. And so when you call him, does he answer? I mean, how do you tell he's running?
He, I can see him running, he got a breath and everything, saying, come get us. And I was like, all right.
When he answers the phone, or you see him running, him being out of breath, what do you say to him?
I told him, I was just going to tell y'all to go inside the house, because it don't look like nobody supposed to be outside right now, because I've seen some people.
All right, so when you tell him that, what does he say?
He said that we just got shot at. Zaevion, the fake kid, we just got shot at. I was like, I just got shot at that fast. I was confused.
What happened after that?
After that, I kept calling JD until he answered the phone. He finally answered. I was like, you gotta come pick me up right now. It's urgent.
Why did you want him to pick you up?
Because they just got shot at, and I was telling Dewey that I was gonna come get him, make sure he's straight.
Were you able to reach Jadarius?
Yes.
Say yes. And after you ever reached Jadarius, what happened?
I got on the phone with him and I was telling him, I was like, hurry up, come get me. Like, right now, it's urgent. We gotta go get Dewey and Xavier from the Dollar General.
Did he come pick you up?
Yes.
When he picked you up, where did y'all go?
We went to the Dollar General to go pick up Dewey and Xavier.
And so who all was in the car when she picked them up?
It was just me, JD, Dewey, and Xavier.
Where did did y'all then go?
At first we was like, I think we were part of the Dollar General, and we was trying to figure out what was going on. And Dewey was calling, he was really calling everybody, trying to see if everything was straight. But he kept calling Zaevion phone, neither one of them answering the phone, so I afraid he like, man, something done happened. And I'm like, nah, ain't gonna happen, we straight. So I'm like, we might as well just go back up there to where it was at, just see if everything's straight. And we started driving, and then I think Dewey had got a call from Faith, and Faith told Dewey that,
As a result of what Faith said, what did y'all do?
we had went to where it happened.
What did you then do? Once y'all got to where it happened, what did y'all do?
I mean, we all got out of the car, see if you was on the porch.
See?
And
What happened after that?
we were just standing there crying, sad.
What happened after that?
I mean, we were standing there for like a long time, but afterwards I went home. And I just sat in my room for like an hour or two. In the dark, I wasn't trying to talk to nobody after that.
At some point in time, did you go down to the police department?
But yeah,
Before I get there. Do you know whether or not your grandma called 911? And if you could, just so the jury knows, I'm not going to play the whole 911 CD, but if you can just identify her voice, tell us if that's her. And this is going to be for so the jury knows. This is going to be on Exhibit 6, the last phone call. Tell us if you recognize this voice.
Call 1, on Thursday, December 17, 2015, at 10:10 p.m. with a GMT offset of negative 300 minutes. Agent ID, extension is 202.
Police Communications, Johnson.
Yes, sir. My name is Kelly Patrick.
Your name is Kelly Patrick?
Kelly.
that's my baby.
This is your grandmother?
Yes.
So the jury knows it's going to be the last phone call on Exhibit 6. All right, so you said you're sitting there in your room for a period of time. At some point in time, you end up going down to the police department, did someone come and get you?
Yes.
Describe that to us. How did that come about?
I was sitting in my room, and my uncle Chuck called me. He said they want me to go down to a police station.
And did you go down?
Yeah.
And did you talk to the police?
Yes.
And that interview was at the court.
Yes.
Now, I want to go back to this individual that came up. Had you ever seen this individual before?
I mean, out in public, but no, not like that.
And so, were you able to describe to the police what this individual looked like?
At the time, no, but eventually, yes, I could.
I mean, at the police department, you recall whether or not you were able to give a description of this? I know you could not pick this out of the line, because you described what he looked like.
Yes.
And if you could you step down and demonstrate to the jury how close he was to you? So let's say that I am you. How close does he get to you? Let me say that I'm him. Right here. And so, for the record, I am that person that approaches you, and you're yourself. Maybe you're saying he gets this close to you.
I've got a tape if you'd like to use it.
Yes, I would like to take a measure. And how far is that? So for the record, approximately 11 feet away from you. And so you were able to see the person's face. Maybe like this. What all about that person were you able to see when that person was standing approximately 11 feet away from you? Got a good look at it? Now, while at the police department, did the police show you a series of photo lineups? Or, no, did they later on try to show you some photo lineups?
Yes.
And were you able to identify anybody from the photo lineups?
No.
At some point in time, were you able to identify that person?
Yes.
Describe how that came about.
I mean, I got a call from somebody and they told me to watch the video and they like tell me the people that you seen and I was like, all right.
Now, this person you got a phone call from, was it law enforcement?
No.
I'm not asking the name, but like, who was that person, like in relationship to you? Family members, friends?
Family member.
All right. And so, as a result of this phone call, what did you then do?
He sent me the video and I went and watched the video. And then after I watched the video, I showed Zach and I was like, this what I seen that night?
You certain?
Yes.
Let me show you exhibit. Right, music video.
Ready?
Yes. Now, we're getting ready to play. Do you recognize what's up on the wall?
Yeah. Yes.
We'll keep playing. Let's make sure. All right, do you recognize this scene here?
Yeah.
What does it say scene from?
The video that I seen that day.
Okay. And did you watch the video all the way through?
Yes.
Now, in watching this video, are you able to recognize anybody in this video?
Yes.
And where are you able to recognize anybody in this video from?
That night.
And so let's play the video.
Purchase your tracks today.
We
video, you said you were able to make an identification.
Yes.
And who were you able to identify?
This one right here.
If you could, is there a laser pointer up there? And that is the person who did what?
Who asked me was Brandon.
And I would like to, if you could, on that screen, use your finger.
Here you go.
Okay, and just circle the face of the person that approached you and said, "What's cracking? What do you bang?" And I would like to print that out, if I could, and make that Exhibit 577. So once you made that identification, who did you tell?
Zach.
And what did you believe Zach was going to do?
Tell his mama.
Why wouldn't you tell the police?
I mean, at the time I didn't know.
And how old were you at the time?
16.
So I got one more thing I want you to draw on my things there. Marker. Is there a black marker? Yes, right. If you show us where you live, go ahead and step down one more time. And on this,
Joe, can you just give me 1 minute?
I apologize.
Any objection to 577?
No, Your Honor.
577. You make it.
Sir, if you could, using this black marker, again, put an X at your house where you were at when you first saw these 8 people. And if you could, using that black marker, put a circle in the area where you first saw those 8 people. And what direction were they coming from? Please, mark it and then tell the jury.
Back, you have to take out close, I can hear this.
That was coming from like towards where the court was. That's my court.
Nah, I can hear
It was coming from the basketball court.
Say it one more time.
That was coming from the basketball court.
How many of them were coming from where the basketball court was?
8.
All right. And then the circle that you have here, what does the circle represent?
That's where I first saw him at.
Now, where did the one that you identified, can you use that black marker? Can you show us where he went to? And for the record, you're showing a 0?
Yes.
All right. And where did they continue on? And is that, how many of them continued on down the street?
7.
And then after the individual you identified, after you had your encounter with him, where did he go? And if you were to continue on down this way, what is down that way?
Pasco down that way, Minnesota. We just,
And is this Ms. Culver's house?
yeah.
Thank you. For the record, we would like to move to evidence exhibit 585.
There you go.
Pass this.
Jones, you want to cross it in?
I'm taking, I'm sorry. It's going to always be running. On the night this happened, December 15th, 2017, you went down to the police station that night, or when was the first time you went to the police station?
That night,
Okay. And who took you, or were you transported by the police officers?
it was an officer named Boogie.
Okay. And you were shown some lineups that night, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't identify anybody?
No.
Nothing further. Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, Wesley.
Mr. Patrick, when you went down to the police station, didn't you tell the police that the person that spoke to you came up to your nose in height?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How tall are you?
6'3",
6'3"? How tall were you back then?
about 6'1", 6'2".
About 6'1"? Okay. And you told the police officer that the person came up to your nose?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't identify anybody that night?
No.
Okay. And so all this time, you didn't know who anybody was until somebody in your family told you to watch a video?
Yes.
Okay. And when was that?
Like a week or two after it happened, I think.
You identified the video a week or two after it happened?
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't tell the police about that?
No.
Why didn't you?
I mean, at the time I didn't know. I just knew each other that.
But you knew a week or two after you watched the video, right?
Yes.
And you never told the police?
No.
Why not?
Objection, Your Honor. Answer.
Well, I'm going to ask one more time.
I mean, I just told that.
So you watched, that's the first time you saw that video was a week after Zaevion was shot?
Yes.
So were you lying when you told the police that the person came up to your nose?
No, that's what he looked like.
That he came up to your nose?
Right.
Okay. And how do you know where the Crips live?
I mean, I live in Montana, so I mean, I wouldn't know.
Are you in a gang?
No.
Okay. How do you know where the Bloods live?
I mean, I got family that live on the east side.
You got family that live on the west side?
East side.
East side.
Yeah.
Where do the Bloods live?
East side.
They live on the east side?
Yes.
Or is your family in the Bloods?
No.
Okay, so how would that give you information about where the Bloods live?
I mean, I know people that live on the east side.
Are they in the Bloods?
No.
And when you were interviewed by the police, you said that the person said, "What's Bracken" to you?
Yes.
And the officer asked you what that meant, and you said, "What's up?"
Right.
Okay. Is that a gang term?
Bracken?
Yeah.
Yes.
How would you know that?
I heard.
You've heard.
I heard gang members say that.
So you've been around gang members?
I live in Lonsdale.
Okay. So the people you're around are gang members?
No, not everybody that I'm around is gang members.
Okay. But you've been around gang members to know what bracken means though, right?
Right.
And so when you watched that video, did that person that told you to watch the video try to influence you to pick out who that was?
No.
Okay. So it's your testimony today that the person that you saw came up to your nose?
Yes.
In height? Okay. And did you want the police to find out who killed Zaevion?
Yes.
Why didn't you tell them?
I told his brother.
You told who?
His brother.
You told whose brother? Zach? You didn't tell the police though?
No.
Okay, that's all I have.
Raj.
You didn't see Mr. Williams that night, did you?
No.
Thank you, that's all, Judge.
You're right.
Remind us again, when the person approached you, where were you standing?
On the porch.
And the person that approached you, where was that person standing?
On the sidewalk.
So he wasn't standing on the porch with you.
No.
Is it okay for him to step down?
You may.
If you could step down and take a look at the defense table. And I asked if you recognized anybody over there as being the one that approached you that night. Okay. And if you want to come on over here closer.
You said you want to point him up?
Please. What does he have on today?
Gray long sleeve.
Gray long sleeve. Take a look at his face. Because the jury's, are you certain that he is the one that approached you?
Yes.
Now, he is tall. That night, were y'all on level ground with each other?
No.
Who was higher? Who was lower?
I was higher.
Why were you higher?
I was on the porch.
And where was he at?
He was on the sidewalk.
Are you certain that Mr. Colbert is the one that approached you?
Yes.
Under oath?
Yes.
That's all.
Mr. Jones.
Nothing further,
Ms.
Your Honor.
Lee.
There you are.
Raj. Thanks, sir. You may step down. Does anybody need a break? I'll go for another witness. All right, jump this time next witness.
Zaevion Dobson.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please have a seat.
Give the jury your name, please, and spell your first name and last name, please.
Zaevion, Z-E-N-O-B-I-A, Dobson, D-O-B-S-O-N.
You're the And if I may approach, then I would. Okay, you're the mother of Zaevion, is that correct?
Yes.
And your two little boys, their names are, please?
Zaevion Dobson, Marquez and Taylor. Zaevion.
Now, where do you live?
In Lonsdale.
How long have y'all lived in Lonsdale?
All our way.
And the boys grow up in Lonsdale?
Yes.
Where do they go to school?
Lonsdale Elementary, Northwest, Byron, Willow Springs. Casey graduated from Central High School. Zach graduated from Fulton High School.
And when did Zach graduate?
He just graduated 2017.
And Zach told us that he played sport, played football, is that correct?
Yes,
Good football player.
yes.
I know your mother and
I'm a football mom.
your football mom.
Yes.
What about Zaevion?
Zaevion, he played football.
And from what age, what,
From 5 years old all the way to 15.
to the bitty league or whatever they call
Little flag, then helmets, pads, then high school.
it? Did he enjoy football?
Loved it.
And was he playing on the football team as well?
Yes, he played for Fort also.
And did he get to play a lot as a freshman?
Yes.
Now, I want to take you back to December of 2015. I guess the last day of school before the Christmas break. Do you remember that day?
Absolutely.
Do you remember the day starting out in the morning and so forth?
Breakfast. Was Zaevion, he loved breakfast. He made sure he ate before he went to school.
Do you remember what you fed him that day?
Waffles
One of his favorites?
and goats.
So after breakfast, what did you do? What did they do?
They were preparing for school, and I signed his permission slips to get out of school early.
And if I could, you talk a little bit about Zaevion, if you provided us with a picture. Zaevion? You recognize it?
Yes.
Picture that you brought to us. We'll put it right here. So after breakfast, tell us what happened.
Well, he asked me to sign everyone's papers to have permission to leave school early because I was on my way to work. And during the time they would get out of school, I would be at work, and they had to have my permission to leave school early.
It was a half day, as
Yes,
we've heard.
they had to go to school.
And did you give that permission?
Yes.
Now, how did they get to school that day, or any day?
I dropped them off in the morning.
And did you do that on the 17th?
Yes. I dropped them at Fort Sanders Hill. That was my drop-off spot. Not Fort Sanders, sorry about that. Sonoma Hill,
Over by,
by Fulton High School.
St. Mary's, well, it used to be St. Mary's Hospital.
Yes.
And back on the hill, so they walk down to school, is that the way
Yes.
that it worked over there?
Yeah, that's the drop-off spot.
Drop-off spot. Okay. And you remember what Zaevion was wearing that day?
Yes.
And I don't want to,
I do, I remember.
you remember talking to him as he got out of the car, and/or Zach?
Yes, I talked to Zaevion all morning, basically. Talked to him when we got out of the car. He told me thank you, of course. And he told me he loved me. Closed the door, and he told me he would call to let me know when we got out of school.
Now, did you go on to work?
Yes, I was on my way to work.
And you recall what hours you would work at that time?
Yes, I worked. I got off of work early. I got off of work at 2 o'clock that day.
2 o'clock. Was that because the kids were getting out early, or was that for some other reason?
No, I got off early because I had other plans.
Okay, that's fine. Now, when did you see your sons again that day?
When they came home from the basketball game from Fort.
Do you remember about what time that was?
I think it was about between 9:30, about 9:30 after the game.
9:30 at night, about
Yes.
9:30. And were you home by then?
Yes,
And who all came at 9:30?
Zaevion, Zach, and Zach.
Were they all three together at the time?
Yes.
And what happened next when they got home?
Well, I heard them laughing and joking, of course, and sitting at the kitchen table, and they were on their phones, and they got a phone call that they were really excited about, so they rushed out the door.
And did they ask permission or?
Yes,
if
they told me that they were going to meet Louie, and I told them, you know, it's getting late, so make sure you come back. Don't stay out late.
You remember about what time that was?
It was close to getting late. I know it probably was around maybe between 9:30 and 10, maybe.
And was it then 9:30 or 10? No school the next day, is that
No
correct?
school the next day, so
Was it okay for them to be?
it was okay for them to hang out. As long as they checked in with me first and let me know that they were going somewhere else.
And was that your requirement that they check in with you when they go?
Yes,
Let me ask you a little bit more about Zaevion. Were he and Zach close?
close, yes.
Were they look out for each other from time to time?
Yes, all the time.
Can you give me an example of Zaevion looking out for Zach or vice versa?
Well, Zaevion, he was the baby, of course, but he was big in size, so he thought he was always in charge, and he made it clear that he would be the one in charge. He was always a protector.
Is there a certain example you can give of that?
Well, my boys, they played in the parking lot and on the side of the building all the time, football. That was it. And so he would take up for Zach. He did. He made sure that if somebody was bullying Zach, he would step in.
And playing football out in the parking lot or the yard, that gets rough from time to time?
Yes, it did. It was some bullying going on, but Zaevion would always be a protector. He would always, he wouldn't back down. He would just be that guy.
Now, do you recall them leaving to go to Tasha?
Yes.
Did you say anything to them other than check in with you?
I told them that, you know, wherever they went, to make sure it was decent and make sure they come back at a decent hour.
And did you speak with them as they were walking out the door? Do you recall?
I just told them to make sure they come back home at a decent hour. You know, don't stay out late. Because I know when it gets late, things happen, so I really didn't want them out late. Plus, they had a friend with them, and, you know, I didn't really know his parents' requirements, but since he was at my household, I wanted them to all come back home.
And we've heard that maybe Xavier was going to spend the night.
Yes.
Is that usual, unusual?
Yes, as usual, Zaevion, he loved inviting his friends over.
After they left, do you recall what you did for some period of time?
After they left, I just began to straighten up the house, doing chores and talking to my mother on the phone.
Okay. Had there come a time when you got a phone call or some other kind of word that something had happened?
Well, during the time when I was at home, I heard gunshots.
Did you actually hear some gunshots?
Yes, I did.
And what
I
was running through your mind when you heard that?
I mean, I reacted like, wow, my sons just left out the door. I know they did. And I'm like, I just hope, you know, in whatever direction they went in, I hope that they are safe from those gunshots because I know I heard them.
And did that cause you to do anything at that time?
I started praying immediately.
And what happened after that?
My phone, it just started ringing. It started ringing off the hook. And I was like, I knew that something happened. I didn't know exactly what happened, but I knew something happened because my phone just kept ringing.
Did you answer the phone? Were you able to answer
At
the
first
phone?
I didn't, and I looked at my phone and I saw someone's number on my phone, and that gave me a reason to answer.
What were you told on the phone?
It was just like, you know, something happened. And I really just didn't panic at the time. I was just like, wow, but by that time there was a knock on my door. And there was a lady telling me that I needed to come and see about my sons.
Did you know where you needed to go see about your son?
I know it was in Lonsdale. I didn't know exactly where, but I know it was in Lonsdale.
At that time, did you understand why you needed to come check about your son?
I knew it was an emergency.
So what'd you do?
Stormed at the door. I just ran, just grabbed some tennis shoes and just started running.
Did you know where you ran to?
Yes.
I mean, was it to the location where Zaevion was?
Yes, it was kind of like up the street.
Okay. And I asked, did you know where to run to at the time? Or
Yes, because the lady that was with me, she gave me that direction to where I needed to go.
So you were running on foot? Is that correct?
Yes.
And when you got there, do you recall the first person you had contact with?
Exactly.
And what was his condition?
He was in shock. He had tears coming down his face. And he told me,
What did he tell you?
he said, Mama, me and Zaevion, we didn't do anything. He said we just got shot at for no reason. But, he made it clear that we didn't do anything.
So he was crying at the time?
Yes.
Did you see any other kids that we've heard from or that you knew?
It was a lot of people standing around with us. I don't recall who was around, who it was, but it was a lot of people.
You remember talking with Officer Crump? The officer that testified?
Yes. I tried to get past him, but he wouldn't let me.
And did he give you news about Zaevion, or did somebody else give you that news?
Officer Crump, I know he was saying that Miss Dobson, this is a crime scene and I can't let you by. But I kept saying, that's my son, I just need to get to him. But he was like, no, because it was secured off, they had yellow tape around it. He wouldn't let me by.
Were you ever able to go by while Zaevion was on that back porch?
No, I could just see him from the opposite side of the parking lot. I was just standing on the other porch, just looking over to the other side.
What were you able to see?
I just saw a blanket over him.
What happened after that?
I was just asking God to give me strength, because I knew that was my baby, and like Zach told me that he died. I just about lost it. I did, but
Recall breaking
just
down?
crying, just screaming, just like what a mother would do. Just screaming for my child.
Remember doing that there at the scene where this all happened?
Yes.
Did you have any idea why this would happen to your children?
None at all. They were at the game, and Zaevion would always tell me things that went on if anything happened. So they didn't tell me about anything negative. So no.
Question.
Celine, may I ask?
No question.
Raj?
No questions, Ms. Dobson.
Thank you, Sal. All right, folks, the second 10 minute recess. Please all separate in case my child can get over here. Hi, folks, you have a seat. All right, sometimes it serves the court well to create an appellate record after we've had an emotional testimony. Now, so Ms. Dobson's testimony was emotional. The court was observing the jury throughout the whole time. I was watching all 15 jurors that we have left, and I did not see any emotional reaction from anybody. I didn't see any tears or anything like that. I just want to put that on the record.
Judge, can we approach just real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, General, I think you wanted to officially move that exhibit into evidence.
I'll wait when the jury comes back, I can do it.
Oh, you want to do it in front of them?
I should, I think,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Take 10 minute recess. All right, welcome back, everyone. I think we're ready to resume. General, ready?
Thanks for
Ready, Mr. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll probably turn your jury. And when you may be seated as the state way to call jury.
Stay away.
Way to call, Mr. Jones.
So waived, Your Honor.
All right, welcome back, folks. Our next witness on the stand, sir. If you, I think you're seated comfortably. You stand back up. Yes, sir. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give in the case now on trial is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. That's it, officer.
Give us your name, sir.
Russell Whitfield,
Can you spell your last name, please?
Whitfield,
Where are you employed?
Knoxville City Police Department.
What do you do with the Knoxville Police Department?
I work in the forensic unit.
And sir, how long have you been with the Knoxville Police Department?
I've got my 30 years in.
So I want to direct your attention first. Let's see, you have occasion to respond to the Knoxville impound lot to process a black BMW.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
I guess tell us about going out to the impound lot and what you did.
It was Wednesday, December the 30th, 2015. I was asked by investigator Leffert and Cook to meet them at the impound lot. And I took general photographs of a four-door black BMW, a Tennessee tag U2155D, and I recovered one live 9mm round from under the back seat of the vehicle.
And sir, did you take photographs?
Yes, ma'am.
And if I can approach and show you. Show you exhibits 359 through 365 and ask you to recognize these photos.
Yes, ma'am, these photographs that I took.
I'd like to move exhibits 359 through 365 as evidence.
Objection, Your Honor.
Very well, these are 359 through 365.
I'd like to publish those to the jury.
They publish.
And sir, directing your attention to the, still have that.
Still have the green circle.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, exhibit 359. What is exhibit 359?
This is one of the photographs that I took. I like to take a general overall photograph when I arrived. And it shows the black BMW at the impound lot.
360.
I generally walk around the vehicle. I just photograph some damage on the front end, just overall condition of the vehicle.
361.
This is a photograph that I took. We opened up the right rear passenger door. The seat is already up. Took a general photograph here.
362.
And this is a photograph that I took, and it's a close-up. In between the seats, the seat you sat on is flipped up. There'll be a live round there.
363.
It's a little bit closer. A lot of my photographs are closer. It's the way that works.
364.
And here's probably the close-up of the live round that's and falling in between the seats, or was recovered from in between the seats.
365.
I took this photograph because it shows that there's no firing pin indication. The round was live and not been fired.
And if I could, so you confiscated that, that ran.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
I'd like to show you Exhibit 460. Ask you to recognize Exhibit 460.
Yes, ma'am.
What is Exhibit 460?
This is the one live 9mm round that I recovered at the impound lot from the black BMW with the same tag number. It's my handwriting. It's my seal where I sealed it.
I'd like to put that in as Exhibit 460.
Any objection?
No objection.
And if you don't mind, could you open that up
Yes, ma'am.
and publish that to the jury? Tell us what type of live round that is, the brand and make. And there's some gloves underneath your desk there.
I have it in plastic
Okay.
bag.
All right. Is it okay for me to step down?
You may set that, sir.
It's my handwriting. So I put the live 9mm round inside the plastic bag. It's not been fired. It's my initials, same complaint number. Keep everything in order.
What type of bullet is it?
It's a 9mm, one live 9mm round.
And the brand?
Oh, I don't know. BMC on the one casing.
PMC 9mm.
Yes, ma'am.
Live round. Now, before we go back to the photos, did you also have occasion to respond, looks like, to UT Forensic Center and collect some evidence?
Yes, ma'am, this is me. It's my handwriting again. This is March the 4th of 2016, where I was responding to UT Forensic Center, and I collected what we call a DNA card. It would be the victim's DNA, and a spent bullet from the right arm.
And this is a DNA card for which victim?
This is for Mr. Brandon Perry.
And this is Exhibit 561, collected. When you collected this, this was sealed, and what did you do with it?
I labeled it like I always did, and I turned it into a confiscations unit.
I'd like to move that in as Exhibit 561.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection. Exhibit 561.
All right. Now let's go. Show you exhibits 366 through 370. You recognize exhibits 366 through 370?
Yes, ma'am.
What are exhibits 366 through 370?
This is a call that I was dispatched to. It's on Hazen Street. It's 1871 Hazen Street. This is where someone was mowing, I think it's a city employees mowing the grass over there. It's probably a couple hundred yards east of the Alex Haley statue, if you're familiar with that. Anyway, so the guy's mowing the yard, he finds a gun, and he calls the police. The patrolman shows up, Officer Boston, and Officer Boston collected it, laid on the hood of his car, which is why my photograph showed it on the hood of the car.
And prior to you confiscating the gun, did you photograph the area that the gun was located and photos of the gun at the scene?
I did, yes, ma'am.
And is that what is shown in exhibits 366 through 370?
Yes, ma'am.
We'd like to put exhibits 366 through 370 in as evidence.
No objection.
No objection. 66 through 37.
I'd like to publish those to the jury and
They publish.
explain to us what we're looking at in exhibit 366, sir.
And this is just a photograph of the area, because I don't know exactly where the gun come from, but you can see it's a walking trail, and it's the hills, and it's part of Morningside Park.
Now, where is Morningside Park at in relationship to this city county building?
Oh.
I mean, is it close or far?
Probably less than 4 miles.
Where is it at in relationship to the Knoxville Police Department?
Oh, maybe 1/2 mile.
And what about where is it at in relationship to Townview Towers Apartments?
Quarter mile, maybe not.
367?
This photograph that I took, as when I arrived on the scene, this photograph of the pistol, condition that it was in at the time.
So Officer Boston had already moved the pistol when you got there?
Yes, ma'am, he moved it because the guy was in the yard and the guy found it. And
So he'd be able to tell us where the gun was actually located?
yes, ma'am, I just know it's up, he said it's over there. And I said, okay.
368?
This is a close-up of the pistol that was found and then I photographed this pistol.
369?
Here's where I turned the weapon over and you can see the rust on this side of it.
370?
This photograph that I took, and the reason I like to do this is I'll take the magazine out. The magazine was loaded, it has 7 rounds in it, and the bullet you see at the top, that was in the chamber.
So the gun was ready to be fired?
The gun was ready to be fired.
Thank you. And you got some gloves there. I'm going to show you exhibit 575. Ask if you recognize exhibit 575.
Yes, ma'am.
What is exhibit 575?
Well, again, this is my handwriting, same complaint number, same report number for the case. Magazine.
Will you do me a favor, inspect your safe, please?
Yes, sir.
Let me see the chamber.
Right. There's no rest of the gun.
That weapon is safe.
Magazine's empty.
Thank you.
He can be permitted to step. We'd like to move exhibit 575 and exhibit.
Any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 575, you may step down.
Can you display that to the jury? Tell it, is that the gun you confiscated that day?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Want to step down and display that to the jury, please?
So when the gun was found, it had a magazine in it. 5 was closed, 1 in the chamber, 7 in the magazine. Then in my pictures, let me show you. Pull out the magazine and lay the bullet right on top of the photograph that you saw. Okay. Then brought this back to the office. You see how rusted? We tried. Use super glue method, try to recover fingerprints. I got nothing off the gun. Kind of been out there for several days, in my opinion. The magazine, I was able to recover a partial fingerprint, not enough to make an ID.
Can you explain to us that, what all is involved in needing a sufficient prints? Just because you look at print, does that mean you're going to make an ID off of a print?
No, ma'am, it sure does not. And this, nobody's impressed. If you got a partial print off a magazine that's been outdoors for a while, that's good. We're going to need several points on that finger. Look very closely at your own fingers where a line touches another line is called a point. And actually recover just a partial off a magazine that's been encased for a period of time. That's the only reason that worked. Was pretty good. I also used a swab and tried to collect DNA swab from the magazine and from the pistol.
And sir, let me let you know that. And just so the jury knows, the bullets, the magazine, and the gun are all in Exhibit 575.
Yes, ma'am.
So you said you got some swabs. Explain to us what swabs are.
The swabs are sealed. You open the envelope, use a little bit of distilled water. And the areas that I like to use are where you're going to grab hold. You're going to grab hold of the back strap, you're going to grab hold of the front, trigger. It's just areas that you're going to grab hold of naturally. It didn't work. Also, it'd been outdoors for a week or more. Probably diluted any DNA sample.
But at the time, but you didn't know, so you took the swabs?
I didn't know, so I just tried.
And so this is, you recognize Exhibit 578?
Yes, ma'am.
What is Exhibit 578?
Swabs from the grip, the trigger, the magazine, the Springfield Army 9mm serial number.
And just so the jury knows, what would you have to do with those swabs in order to find out if there's any DNA on those swabs? What do we have to do?
Well, they're collected with gloves. Then a request would be done to be sent to the TBI for an analysis.
And so they're the ones who have to do the analysis.
The TBI would do that.
And they'll tell us the results.
Yes, ma'am.
What do this in as Exhibit 578?
Objection.
No objection.
578.
That's the swabs?
The swabs from the 9mm. And what about Exhibit 470? You recognize Exhibit 470?
Yes, I do.
What is Exhibit 470?
Investigator Leffler asked me to, I met him on the Lonnieville Road, which is the Knox County intake, where I collected a buccal swab from a Mr. Kipling Covert.
What is a buccal swab?
That is, it's similar where the swabs are sealed in an external environment. Gel pneumatic, put gloves on. And unlike the old days where you had to draw blood for DNA, now you can just take a very long 2 Q-tips, put together, open your mouth, reach inside, and you scrape the skin itself off inside of the mouth. Takes 2 seconds, painless. Then I seal them, come back in, I read, and the other side of the sealed envelope, it has my initials sealed again, and then envelope, in this case this one, which I've sealed, has the initials. It's been opened once by the TBI, and then it's submitted to our confiscation unit.
And this is the buccal swab for who?
For Kipling Covert.
I can make this Exhibit 470.
Objection.
No objection.
470.
Yeah, they're
Password.
Robert, you may ask.
Good afternoon, Mr. Whitfield. How you doing?
Thanks, sir.
So that the gun that was recovered was a 9mm gun, right, from the Morningside Park?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the photographs that you had, you weren't there when it was discovered, correct?
That is correct.
And it was discovered by a city employee, not a police officer?
And the way I understand it, the
Okay.
city employee was mowing the Morningside Park.
Okay, so by the time you got there, did you speak to that employee at all?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay, so by the time that you got there, you took the pictures, the gun had been moved from where it was found, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so that was just on the cruiser?
It's on the hood of the
And so you don't really know where it was found, other than what you were told by the other officer?
Right, Officer Dobson, yes, sir.
Okay, so the picture that we saw of Morningside Park, that was just kind of a general picture of the opening of the park or vicinity down the pathway?
I asked, I said, where was it? He was up in there, so.
Okay.
That was a photograph up in there.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have to.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Attorney.
I've got one question. The only time I'm gonna do this all day. What day were you out there?
At the Hazen,
No, yeah, Morningside Park. Yes, sir.
Thursday, April the 14th, 2016, 10:15 hours.
Almost 4 months to the day from December 17th, 2015, correct? 1 day short.
Yes, sir.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Ms. Lee, you ask?
And Mr. Whitfield, you said you took a swab from Mr. Colbert?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But you're not the one who runs the test on that, are you?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay. And you can't testify about the results, can you?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Rogers, anything else? No, sorry, redirect.
No, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I've got Officer Stevens. I'll try that. Officer
Your Honor,
Stevens.
can we approach just
Sure.
Thank you, Russ.
Folks, Mr. Cameron has another obligation due to his legal services that's required elsewhere, so he will be leaving this afternoon. I'll see you tomorrow, Mr. Cameron.
Thank you, Judge.
Take a look, stand first.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the case now on trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. That's it, officer.
Please give us your name, sir.
John Stevens,
Can you spell your last name, please?
STEVENS,
Where are you employed?
with the Knoxville Police Department.
What do you do with the Knoxville Police Department?
I'm assigned to the Patrol Division in the East District
And how long have you been with the Knoxville Police Department, actually?
for 11 years.
And East District, does that include the Green Hills area?
Yes, ma'am.
And sir, do you recall if you were working back on December 17, 2015?
Yes.
Before we talk about Green Hills, do you recall going to an address with some other officers for the Green Hills incident?
Yes.
I guess that was going into December 18th. Tell us, I guess, about going to that address. What address did you go to?
It was 10-1006 Pleasant Knoll.
And why did you go to that address? Who were you looking for?
We were doing a knock and talk at Bassett's house.
Chris Bassett?
Yes.
Now, where is 1006 Pleasant Knoll? Where is that in relationship to Green Hills?
About a half mile north.
Now, and did you in fact go to that house?
Yes.
And your in-car video, was it operating at the time?
Yes.
Will your in-car video show us the exact time that you pulled up?
Yes.
So while you were there at that house, what happened?
While we were conducting the knock and talk and attempting to make contact with the residents, we had two different cars come and drive down to the cul-de-sac as a dead end. They observed us and immediately turned around into the cul-de-sac and turned around and exited the street.
Do you recall the two cars?
Yes.
What was the first car?
One of it is an Acura. The second one was a dark colored BMW.
Were you able to reach anybody there at 1006 Pleasant Knoll?
No one came to the door.
In addition to that, do you recall a vehicle being parked in front of 1006 Pleasant Knoll?
Yes.
What type of vehicle was that?
It was an Impala, I believe.
Do you recall putting out there seeing a Lexus there?
Lexus, okay.
Well, Your Honor, I'm going to object to the suggested nature of that. I mean,
I'm going to sustain the objection. If you can rephrase
Sorry?
your question.
Would your video capture the vehicle that was parked in front of 1006 Pleasant Knoll?
Yes, it did.
All right, so whenever this dark colored BMW comes in, what does the dark colored BMW do?
It immediately just, as we're standing in front of the house, conducting our knock and talk, it approaches us, immediately turns around in the dead end of the cul-de-sac and then leaves.
Are y'all able to reach anybody at 1006 Pleasant Knoll?
No.
So what do y'all then do?
At that point in time, I got back in service to answer any more calls that I might be dispatched to on 911.
What happened after you got back in service?
Maybe about 5 minutes afterwards, I was dispatched to a shooting call at Green Hills.
So what did you then do?
I then responded to Green Hills apartments.
When you responded to Green Hills, what did you observe?
I immediately observed a dark colored BMW that had crashed into one of the apartment buildings near the entrance of Green Hills. I observed a driver slumped over the wheel of the
of a BMW. There was another man standing over top of him as well, with the driver's side door open.
What did you do?
Approached and made contact with the person I was standing over, the driver.
Now, your video, your cruiser, where was your cruiser parked in relationship to the car that had crashed into the building?
I parked the vehicle so that the camera would show the entire crime scene.
Do you know whether or not this was the same BMW you'd seen earlier?
At the time, and I believe it was. And I made note of it on the video.
My exhibit number that I gave you. One second. Just let me get your exhibit number, and then I'll play a portion of your video. It's going to be 464. We would like to move a portion of the in-car video in as exhibit 464.
No, you're right. 464.
The first part of the video, so the jury knows, is going to be the part where you're at Pleasant Knoll. Do you have a laser pointer up there? All right, now where are you pulling into right now?
This is the entrance to Pleasant Knoll, right off Brooks Avenue.
And tell us what the current time is.
It is 1:49.
And as you're pulling in, tell us what we're, I guess you're already there, tell us what we're looking at when you're pulling in.
Like I said, this road is Pleasant Knoll, facing northbound, and I'm just now made entrance into the road from Brooks Avenue.
Thanks.
Hey, got Robert?
Was that the Impala you were talking about there? And you want to pause it right now? And what about this car?
That's the Lexus.
So it's two different cars.
There was an Impala as well right in front of it.
Now, this Lexus, what do you know about this Lexus? Or what do you notice about this Lexus?
There is a dome light on the inside.
And do you see that on that monitor there with the dome lights on?
Yes.
Can you use that pin and circle there for Joe?
You want to mark it on the screen?
Please. Can you mark that on the screen?
You want to capture that?
Please. If we could print that out and make that exhibit 579, please.
Any objection to exhibit 579? right, Johnny, make it in.
Thank you, sir. All right, what are you doing now?
I've now turned in the cul-de-sac. And my camera's facing southbound on Pleasant Knoll towards Bruce Avenue.
We're going to mute it so that what's happening.
We are just congregating outside and just talking about, we're about to go make our approach to that 10006 Pleasant Knoll. I was called there because they were plainclothes officers that needed a uniformed officer to do the initial talk on that approach at the front door of the house.
Okay.
And basically they're just informing me of why they called me to the scene.
Okay.
Yeah, back a little closer to you there.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
What's the time now?
152.
And have you seen the date?
The date is, for some reason I can't.
You can probably see it on your monitor.
Oh, okay. December 18th.
Okay.
At this point in time, we haven't made our initial approach to the house yet still, and that's when the actor approached us, sees us and turns around and exits.
Was that car that we just saw, was
Yes.
that the Acura? Okay.
It seemed odd that a vehicle would travel up there without stopping at any houses to do anything.
Well, I'd object. I mean, that's speculation relative to that. I mean, he can testify.
I think you can lay a little more foundation to that.
Why would you consider that to be odd? Describe that street again?
It's just, it's a dead end. My mentality, my thinking at the time was that seeing officers doing a knock and talk, someone might want to avoid that situation.
Well, Your Honor, again, that's speculation. That's,
I'm going to overlook because he's talking about what he was thinking.
I made note of the tag as it was leaving and announced it on my radio at the time.
And that's for the Acura?
The actor.
And what time is it now?
154. At this point in time, we initialized our attempt to make contact. We surrounded the house and I'm on the front porch, knocking on the front door.
You're on the front porch now?
Yes. And I see the black BMW has now passed or come up to the cul-de-sac and is now turning around.
What time is it now?
It is 1:55.
We can pause it. I'm gonna back it up a little bit because I was gonna take a screenshot. And pause it. Is this the vehicle?
Yes.
We'd like to make this Exhibit 580, screenshot it.
The injection.
No, you're in.
So what do y'all do, what are you doing now? Did you notice BMW leave?
What am I currently doing? I mean, well, again, we're trying to make contact with any residents inside, residents on Pleasant Knoll. I just make a mental note of the BMW wasn't close enough to re-attack or anything like that.
And were you able to raise anybody at 1006 Pleasant Knoll?
No.
All right. Well, this is going to show you pulling out, I believe.
And it was a minute. I think we're giving up trying to make contact, and then I try to go back in service to answer any more calls.
Okay. You want to pause it and go to the, or stop it and go to the next one?
Yeah, stay. Just want to darken the screen so I can find it.
Okay.
Okay. Then you can get the audio. You can unmute it. It's not a card. Okay. All right, tell us the time here.
This is 2:01.
Okay. I was just going to ask you, if you could explain to the jury, back at that intersection, which direction would you go in order to go to Pleasant Knoll?
I would take a left at that past stop sign. I would take a left, which would have headed eastbound on Bruce Avenue, and Pleasant Knoll would have been the immediate left-hand turn from that intersection.
Okay. Now, so where are you at right now?
I'm directly right here.
And who's the person you're speaking with? Not the part, but I mean, where is that person at in the video?
He's in the driver door. He's right above the driver. He's
What color? Can you make out what color his shirt is?
It's a white shirt.
And the person that you were just speaking with, where does that person now go?
He goes inside right here.
And if we're watching your video, you can see inside of the apartment building?
Yes.
Okay. And the video shows the person you were just talking to, when he walks into the building, where does that person go?
He goes into the first apartment on the right.
And you're able to see that through that window?
Yeah.
And what are you trying to do now?
Officers are now arriving on scene, trying to coordinate with them on preserving the crime scene, getting and right now, we're realizing that there's people trapped in, or inside the apartment that the vehicle ran into.
Okay. Pause for a second. What did you just say about that BMW?
I just coordinated with an investigator that this is the same BMW that I saw on Pleasant Hill.
What are you trying to do now?
I hear voices. They're telling me that the trap, I thought they were pinned, so that I'm calling the AFP.
Pause it for a second. And that person that you were speaking with earlier that went into that apartment, do you now see that person again?
Yes.
And where's that person at?
Right there.
Okay. Now, what officer, could you tell what officer took that person in the white shirt off?
That was Lieutenant Brown.
And is that you back in the camera now?
I believe it's a K9 unit D-ring.
What are you doing now?
Again, I can't really recall what I'm doing.
And just so, we're not going to play the rest of it, but I mean, basically, how long did you stay there at the scene?
I think another hour. Basically just documenting who comes and goes from the crime scene.
And that's basically, so if we had any question about who approached the vehicle, who went into the building, who would be able to review your video to find that out?
Yes, I did the crime scene log.
And we will do a late filed exhibit of just a portion of the phone.
Okay. And if any other attorneys wish additional portions of that video to be played, you'll need to do it during this direct. All right, so Mr. Benz, may I ask?
Can I have a minute to go through photographs?
Yes.
Over here. I think the video stopped at around 2:06:52, is that right?
207:10.
2:07:10, I'm sorry. Can we play for the officer 2:06:52 to 2:07:10, and then I've got a question that I want to ask him. Can we pause for just 1 second? Can I borrow your laser pen? You see this area right here?
Yes.
Do you see anything in that area?
Right now or back?
Well, in that photograph, do you see anything in that area?
No.
Just the BMW, right? Okay. Can we continue to watch?
You still want to stop at 10?
Yes, sir, please. Just whenever you were normally going to stop it. And what I want you to continue to concentrate on is that area right there.
That's where we stopped before.
Okay.
Keep playing.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fine. At that point in time, this man standing right here, is he a law enforcement officer?
Yes.
Okay. So would you consider that crime scene partially secured? I realize it's a chaotic event and there are things going on. Would you consider it secured?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't see anything in this area right here, do you?
No.
Can I show you, would you have lights, please? Sorry, I can get my glasses. An exhibit that's been previously filed in this case, and it's of a black BMW, and I'm looking at a series of photographs beginning with number 193 through 201, 202. Do you see those photographs? I'm talking about these across the top.
Yes.
Okay. In particular, photographs number 197 and 198, they show two items on the ground, don't they?
Yes.
Okay. In this secure crime scene that you testified nothing was on the ground, exhibits number 197 and 198 show two black hoodies on the ground, right?
I guess I'm going to object. I don't believe this officer's testified that there was nothing on the ground. He's testified what he saw on the video.
He said there was nothing there.
And then he clarified, and he asked, you talking about then, or you asked on the video? And he said on the video. So if we can ask him if he recalls.
Well, I thought I was setting it up when I said that somebody had it secured. I'll go back. Do you recall whether or not there was anything there?
No, I do not recall anything.
And on your video, there's nothing there, right?
That I can see, yes.
Okay, so somehow it got there, didn't it? If those photographs are, you see that BMW, you recognize it, right? Let's put it up here. Everybody look. Those got there somehow, didn't they?
Yes.
Okay, you didn't put them there, right? I'm not accusing you, I'm just, as a matter of course, you didn't put those hoodies in, right?
No. At 2:07 I'm sorry, at that point in time in the video, where,
Yes, sir.
where you were pointing out and said there was nothing there,
Right.
KFD had not entered, the driver had been pulled out of the vehicle, that it could have come from inside the vehicle, and it,
Could have come, we don't know, right?
at that point in time,
All right, like, I mean, if I'm on scene, if I took my coat off and I just tossed it over there in the frame, you're securing that scene, you wouldn't let me do that, would you?
no, probably not.
Okay? You wouldn't let law enforcement officers do that, would you?
No.
Now, the Green Hills BMW, excuse me, strike that, strike that, strike that. The Pleasant Knoll BMW, you already testified that at first you saw an Impala, right? Yes, sir? I mean,
Yes.
for court report, you have to say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. And then at some point in time, you saw a BMW, right? On your video.
I testified that I saw 4 different vehicles on scene.
Okay. And I'm not putting words in your mouth. You said BMW on direct. That's where I'm coming from.
BMW was the last vehicle to enter the cul-de-sac.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the cul-de-sac is where cars go to turn around.
Yes.
Okay. And you saw 3 other cars go in there and turn around.
So one other vehicle come in that wasn't a police-operated vehicle.
Okay.
And 2 vehicles that were parked there.
Okay. And you didn't make a notation of the license plate of the BMW?
No.
The only thing you know that it was dark colored, right?
Yes.
So you're assuming that's the same BMW, aren't you?
Same make and model.
I got you. Would you be surprised to know that BMW made more than one black BMW of that same model that's 4-door?
Yes, there are. It did.
I get it. I mean, you're speculating, aren't you?
Yes.
Nothing further. Thank you, sir.
Lee?
I have no question.
Mr. Rogers? Direct.
In light of cross-examination, so if we were to play the rest of your video, would it show the crime scene technicians arriving on the scene?
Yes.
And it would show whatever evidence they collected from near the BMW?
Yes.
And because, in light of that, we would seek to introduce the entire video. I mean, I guess we can redact out the sound past 2:07, but it's a crime scene video.
I don't have an objection. I think the court already said that we could put in whatever we wanted to. I would like the opportunity to go back and review the video at the same time. I don't have an objection to it, But I think you said we could respectfully, each of us, put in what we
What I'm
want.
saying is you have to, since the entire video is not coming into evidence, you have to introduce the portions you want while he's up on the stand for cross-examination. And so if you want to ask him any questions about that, y'all have to do it now.
I have no objection to the entire video. I want to know how they got there, so that's fine.
So
Audio included or just the
Get the audio.
video without the audio?
we'll get the entire video then.
We may need jury out relative to that.
Yeah. All right, yeah, let's talk about it. You have any other redirects? Let's do that tonight. Let's send these 5 jurors home and we'll figure it out.
And that being said, I want to make sure, because I may have another question depending upon whether we're not excusing him from the stand relative to, because the court's brought something up. I may want to ask him another question or
Depending
two.
upon what part of the video comes in, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I may have another question or two today.
Well, you need to do those other questions too now.
I'll do that then. Well, as we saw in that video, as of the timestamp, and I'm sorry, my mind's gone. 2:07:10, there was nothing there. So at some point in time, someone did something with that crime scene and those hoodies got there, right?
Now, I don't recall it being there. I'm not saying it could have been there, seen, and I can't see a quick picture of it from where I'm here. So I'm not saying it wasn't there at that time either.
Okay, you're just saying that that doesn't show it there.
I'm just saying I cannot see it in my footage from here.
Fair enough, thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Lee? Ms. Rogers? Joe?
So to be clear, if your camera angle just isn't positioned so that it's picking up the 2 hoodies there, and then we see crime scene come on scene and collect the 2 hoodies, then that would just mean that clearly there was something
Well,
there.
Your Honor, I'd object to the form of the question.
Yeah,
She's leading in the
What would that
suggestion.
mean?
I'm going to sustain the objection. I think
Thank you.
we covered that.
But so just so we're clear, we are seeking to move in the entire video, whether it's audio or not.
We're going to talk about it tonight. All right, folks, what I'm going to do is go ahead and send you home for the evening. Same instructions I sent you that every evening. Please do not discuss the case with anyone. Please avoid all media coverage, particularly local news. There is a press conference at 6:05 to announce Jeremy Pruitt as the next football coach. Be careful where you watch that. My directions to you would be DVR if you have the DVR. Because sometimes, these local TV stations that put that up there, they might cut in with a little blurb, say, coming up tonight, whatever. I don't want you to hear anything like that. I don't think there's going to be anything like that. But just be on the safe side. If you're watching that, probably record it and have somebody else watch it first, make sure there's something said about this case. Or just watch the very beginning and then the end, okay? Tomorrow, I have some cases on my docket that I have to address. I'm going to do that between 9 and 10. So I'd ask you to be here by about 9:50 tomorrow. I'll make sure you're all here and Zoom. Right around 10 o'clock. Again, I want you to take notebooks with you this time. We're going to keep it secure over the evening. I'll see you tomorrow at 9:50. Have a good night, folks. Officer, don't leave this. You have a basketball question for you. All right, folks. Yeah, the issue that's come up really is if those hoodies weren't there when Officer Stevens arrived, at what point do they come? Now, it could be that this video captures it, like when they're pulling Mr. Perry out of the car, you may see it come down there, or as soon as they move away, they may be there. I mean, to me, that's the only relevant part for the issue that's come up here. Now, y'all can talk among yourselves and agree that you want more to come in there, but if you're asking me now, what I'm going to limit it to is if there is something captured on there showing when those 2 hoodies appear.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that since we have the beginning, we've got the officer arriving on the scene, and we know at the end that the crime scene tech confiscates the hoodies.
Do we actually see the confiscation?
Yes. Yeah, it's basically a crime scene video.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the safe thing is to put the video in without audio
Yes, that's what we want.
from wherever on.
I think that's fine. My concern was, as you saw some folks run in and out of the video,
Yeah.
I don't want to have another Crawford issue where somebody,
No.
that's my main concern. I didn't think it was going to be relevant up until now. I'd have to go back and review all that audio
And
again.
you don't have to worry about testimonial issues if there's no audio.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
Ms. Lee, you agree with that? Ms. Rogers, you agree with that?
I don't want audio.
Well, we're not
Up to
asking.
2710.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so so you probably need to do one collectively, do 8, what's the number again? I don't remember. Whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever that is.
464.
So we'll do A and B and put it on the same disc, and so you can have audio from what you showed here from.
I think we can do it on one disc.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because I think
on one
we just have
video, and you
to.
just cut the audio off? Okay. As long as at 27:10, the audio stops.
Yes, sir.
And then you can have the rest of this cruiser video come in. You agree with that, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I believe it's 2:07:10, though, not,
Yeah,
not,
yeah, you're right, you're right.
Okay.
Ms. Lee, you go with that?
I have no objections to that.
All right, folks, the KBA meeting is tomorrow from 8:30 to 10. I always go to that, but due to, the fact it's been in the trial, I'm going to skip it. So I'm going to work my docket 29 and 10 tomorrow. My apologies to the attorneys that will have to miss that meeting. That's just the only way I can do it. I'd ask y'all to be here at about 9:50 tomorrow. Any other issues in the state? Mr. Jones, anything?
no, Your Honor, thank you, Your Honor.
Lee?
Wait,
Sure. Mr. Rogers, you got anything else?
I have no idea.
Good.